become beautiful till it all burns out. We're like falling stars, miracles dancing on the ground. And we're right with you to feel it strike deep dive. We're right with you, yeah. And we're right with you to feel it strike deep dive. Suffering grows, yeah. They say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, yeah. They say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, yeah.
Welcome, everyone. I have the most amazing Travis here with me this evening. And last time I saw Travis, we were actually taking pictures with Graham Hancock.
Oh, yeah. You should pull that up. I can.
Cool. And Travis is also known as Dub Selector. So if you're, and he's my only moderator. And so if you're ever in the chat, this is Dub Selector, who happens to also be Uncharted X's video editor.
That's right.
So me and Travis were always talking about amazing things, but Travis also does something else pretty amazing, which is he works with 14 quantum computers, which is fascinating. And you always hear me mention it and talk about it because yeah, I think it's fascinating. I remember trying to proposition him of taking ancient Sumerian tablet possibly and running it through it. But
yes. Well, I could quantify, pardon the pun, what your explanation. I support the quantum computer superconductor production, essentially.
Dude. So I was like I was so dominant about it too. Like, listen, Travis, I need you to do something for me. Okay. Listen up. I have this ancient tablet and there's some things that haven't been deciphered on it. Can you just run it through? Like, I need it's important. It's imperative. Oh, it's so funny. The things that I call you with.
It's all good. No, any question is a good question. And then we could figure out how to answer it. Right?
Solutions, Travis. Gets me right here. Right here. And I can't wait to try Aphora.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna send you some of that for sure.
Aphora water is what we're discussing. I should do an unboxing.
I don't want to like shill for them. But
I do. I'll shill for like any good water, amazing water. I will talk about it all the time. But yeah, I want to do an unboxing. When you send it to me, I will do like an on-air unboxing and a tasting. I will swirl it around and drink it and describe how amazing it is, or my review of the water.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'll get right on that for sure.
I'm excited.
And it's interesting because when I've run out of it, I've only had it a couple times in the last year, really. But when I've run out and then you go back to the normal water, you're like, there's something missing. It's just like you can't taste the difference. It does taste quite good, but it has extra oxygen for sure. And that you could feel if you're working out or anything. Like it just hydrates you immediately. You know, your body, like you're saying with the other water, your body has to work. If you consume water that has impurities, your body has to do stuff to get rid of that, and it takes work for it to hydrate itself, your body. This water, it feels, you just take it in immediately. Instant absorption, I guess. You
So
feel,
do you notice a difference like pretty quickly?
yeah,
Like you feel it.
yeah, you
It like
do.
harmonizes.
If you had that water just for a whole day by itself, then that's when you can kind of tell. So yeah, I'll get you a couple gallons.
Yes, the unboxing. I will do it. I absolutely will. I will love that and super appreciate it. To me, that's like better. That's like the best gift you can give someone is like amazing
Good.
structured water.
Okay. Something that's really good for you. Even though it's just water. Best gift ever.
It is. I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like a broken record with it always of like, have good water.
I do too. I like, because I've been talking to other people about it, but man, they're gonna have to start paying me if I'm gonna start.
We can't be like that though. Like with things that work and solutions need to promote, like promote what you love, promote what works. Like we need it.
There is a reason that the guy I know doesn't work for them anymore, though.
Oh, okay. Well,
but I just know them to have that good water, and the company he works for now only supplies the home systems, so not bottles. That's the other company will give you.
I thought they do pools too.
Yeah, all like under counter, your shower, pool, full house, whatever.
Well, I'm just trying to plant seeds, like whispering in everyone's ear of like create an amazing water invention, of trying to get people for those solutions of
that technology cheaper.
Yes. And have it readily available. There's all these people in these like selling like Enagic water systems, and the filtration isn't that good and the price is horrendous, and I get it. They're motivated and they are helping people to an extent, but with there's just other solutions out there that are better, and we need it readily available. Period. Like with like the toilet to tap passing, and the things that are being found in the water, and it's unbelievable. So we need strong filtration systems to use what is available. Like the filters need to be, and so to make things readily available and affordable, like, because it makes a big difference.
But you're going to pay a lot right now. That's just, the technology is there. You can defluorinate your home water and you could swim in that stuff, but you're going to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like, these are going to some pretty big houses. They'll do the whole pool and everything.
Plus, that area is like the area you're referring to is one of the most expensive places to live, like anywhere. I mean, Santa Barbara, Montecito, like in the world, right? I think it's like
I think you're right. In the world. Sorry, the world, not just the country.
Yeah, there's a reason why like Oprah has a place there and all these people have properties there.
Yeah, so
San Ysidro Ranch.
If you know it, Hope Ranch is better than Montecito. Montecito is where those people go that, but Hope Ranch is like the hidden nice area.
I always wanted to go to that little Gilligan's Island. What is that called? It looks like Gilligan's Island, right? As you're coming in.
Gilligan's Island.
It just looks like, you're too young. You're like what, 27? It looks like Gilligan's Island. It's like got a pier and it has like a bunch of palm trees and it's a little miniature island.
It's just the transportation heliport for the oil rigs. That's all that is. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's like north of Ventura, right?
Yes. Yep. Right before you're like entering Santa Barbara.
Yeah, so the helicopter will land there and then they take everyone out to the oil platforms.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Huh. All right.
Once every 2 weeks. They live out there for 2 weeks and they come back.
Stellium, I don't know if he is a channel. He's pretty awesome. Mike, he used to live in Santa Barbara and he said he would like parasail, like, or where you would run. I always saw somebody right there.
That's like, scary to me. Yeah. Have fun. Looks, yeah, definitely. You could do that out there. There's tons of. That's the most mountainous area because there's just giant cliffs everywhere. So go ahead and jump off if you want.
Right? That's like such a probably a healthy exercise to do, like mentally, of like empower. I bet it's empowering
Yeah,
and
you're
liberating.
flying.
But I'm sure the first time's probably terrifying.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I like skiing, so I'm all for that. But I might stay away from the squirrel suits, the flying squirrel suits, and all that stuff. That's just, it's too risky, you know.
Well, they
Maybe
say to
for
confront your
anyway.
fears.
Oh, that's,
Imagine doing that.
I
Imagine
mean,
just
you
being
just
like, you know
make
what?
no
I'm going to
mistakes.
confront all of my fears, like write all your fears down and then just one by one cross them off.
Mm,
Whew.
interesting.
Well, awesome. We're
Let's
here to
do.
talk about geopolymer. I always told people too, like, don't bring up geopolymer on my show. It might start a war, you know?
Yeah, it always. I mean, it shouldn't, but it does because,
It's a non-debatable debate.
yeah. There's the answer to your title is no, at least. There now, that's dependent on what you're trying to talk about. So
I'll add that. I'll put absolutely not. Was geopolymer used in ancient sites? Absolutely not.
I know. I don't know. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying absolutely not for certain types of stone. Granite, number one, granite. So granite is a bunch of different things, and we could go over that real quick. So igneous stone, by itself, you can share the screen now if you want.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just
Here we go.
to get that in people's heads, you know.
You
So
got it.
igneous stones. There's intrusive and extrusive. So intrusive is that which is formed underground. So magma, you know, this is earth, natural stuff. It does just pressures, high heat, collapsing weights, like a lot of basically earthquakes and everything that helps this process, creates volcanoes, whatever. So the igneous stone is what forms under the ground. The extrusive igneous stone forms above. That's a little different. But on this one, oh, that just locked. Wow. I don't really have, I'm going to just make this clear for everyone. This is not a legitimate presentation. We're just talking about this, right? I don't have a slide. I'm not doing speeches, none of that stuff. We're just talking about this. And hello, chat, Bernie, Hero. Nice. I'm not going to go over scientific names, not necessary. Granite, number one. We may just show some examples first of like the ancient sites and what people have said to potentially be granite. I mean, geopolymer. Now, what's your understanding of it while I look for this stuff?
Wait, so geopolymer is like would have to be mixed with chemicals. Like so
That's
they
that's how you understand it?
well that's what I thought it was like where somebody would have to formulate it and mix it. Is that wrong? Am I wrong?
That's one interpretation that I've heard for sure.
But I think when some people get in arguments about it, they are discussing if they're not exactly clear on what they're referring to. So that's where I think the lines become blurry.
Yeah, the chemical I've heard for limestone geopolymer. Granite I've heard is like straight melting and just if anyone else has ideas of that, please present it, and we could discuss that.
Okay,
But
so
anyway,
talk to me
this
as
is,
I
this is
know
a
nothing.
common, okay. Well, this is a common type of polygonal or polygonal masonry that you see in Peru, and it happens to also be shared across Egypt and other sites across the world, like Indonesia. There's a lot of examples of this type of masonry. This is in Cusco, in downtown Cusco, one of the megalithic walls that's been left over there, and it happened to have been separated by an earthquake. So we
Wait, so
see.
wait, really quick though, time out. So geopolymer could possibly be the definition of the reaction to certain chemicals on the surface or certain changes that happen in the environment, which could cause it to become geopolymer with like natural chemical reactions or like a volcano. I'm not like, I don't understand to begin with of like, or because I thought geopolymer was like somebody mixed it, they're adding chemicals and like to form, like
Right.
to make the block or to form the cement or to make the composition.
Yeah, some sort of way to make a mold out of the stone, and then the stone forms back into its natural form. That's the problem with it. You can do all this concrete stuff, but what you're going to have after that is sedimentary, rock. If you have anything that you're combining and forming, it's essentially powder at that point, and then you're reforming it. But you won't get, this is a bad example of what we can talk about with that, which I will show a better example.
Well, I just wanted you to tell me what like the definition of geopolymer or from your understanding or from your point of view.
That's
Or
the
you're
most.
getting there? Huh? Oh, this is a debatable thing. This is why there's so
Yeah.
many wars within it. Because I've seen friendships, our inner circle be torn up over this. I've seen this like destroy communities, and I've never dived down it. But so
So the main thing is we'll start at the end and work backwards. The end would be, please show me an example. One, anyone makes any sort of, that powder we can make into a geopolymer, please do it. But it hasn't been done yet. So the arguments on how you form that have been with chemical or whatever. Some even claim ultrasonics, restructuring the molecular form of the stone itself. I've heard that from not anyone making videos, just random people talking. But I've yet to hear anything legitimate when it comes to, if you know how it's formed in the first place, these types of stones, which is what we were talking about in the beginning. Essentially, I shouldn't do that type of scrolling. So diorite, granodiorite, granite, and these are not too commonly heard of. Gabbro, peridotite, which is also starts with an S. I will think of that one.
silica.
No, it's a green type of igneous rock. It's kind of like granite, but it's more green. And then you have this one, which is really cool. This is interesting. And if there's any examples of anyone knows that's made out of this, that'd be great. Please show that. But what you have here, hold on, this will load, is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of stone and material all made into one. Muscovite, garnet, the black stuff here, tourmalite, beryl, I guess, and that's all quartz, this big chunk, and potassium feldspar, this stuff right here. So what I'm getting at with this one you're never gonna take this rock here, break it down, and reform it to look like that. It will never happen. This was formed by super intense earth pressures and hot over 1200 Celsius up it takes to melt this kind of stone, which that's extremely hot. That's essentially like lava flow. If you've seen lava flow, it's the same. It's around 1500 Celsius, 1200 Celsius. So again, I will apologize to chat because I didn't have anything really like presentable. We're just kind of talking about this.
I forced him. I was like, listen up here, Dub Selector. You're going to get in there. We're going to talk geopolymers. He's like, but I'm not ready. I was like, it's okay.
Yeah. So granite has more crystal or more of quartz than, let's say, granodiorite. That has less. And you could see that here. It's the intrusive equivalent of dactite. I don't know what that is. But we'll stick with these main three because these are the ones that we see in Egypt: granodiorite, granite, and diorite. There's a lot of statues.
It's like incredibly conductive.
Well, that could be another thing too, which is another, different topic. The limestone granite combination, the casing stones.
Yes.
Granite.
Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on there for sure. And it's also interesting that the limestone underneath the precision cut granite, which is that's part of this topic too, because what we see is the ability of cutting these large, heavy pieces, but with tool marks. So I'll go back to, because this is the fun stuff here. So I am using photos from Ben Van Kerkwyk of Uncharted X. By the way, these photos are publicly available if you go on his website. But I'm a representative of that channel.
If you guys haven't checked out Uncharted X, it's an amazing channel. Like, you got to check them out. Amazing footage and insight. Beautiful shots.
I'll drop. We'll put a link later. But yes, he kind of sets the bar for quality editing, and it's just like the way you would want something presented. Thoroughly open-minded. I'm not trying to make, we're not saying this is how it was done. We don't know. So, but we do know that granite geopolymer is impossible. So I just want to show. So this box here, clearly some saw marks. I know. I don't know exactly what type of stone this is. And if we had someone who's been to the Cairo Museum, that would help because they've definitely seen this. And this is now, oh, there we go. Backed in the corner. You got to go like around a corner to look at it.
Really?
Yeah, they just try to tuck that stuff away.
They're like, oh, nothing to see here.
These are not the best pictures. Yeah, so it's sideways like that. Again, if you take a really close look at it, which you can't see in this picture, but there is striations like you would see on a circular saw, essentially. Just one example. Another example, saw cut here.
Wow. What a shot.
This is in either basalt or I'm not sure. But it's one of those types of hard stone. Basalt's another one. It's just the way that's formed. You're not going to be able to simulate those natural pressures and temperatures. That's all I'm saying. If you could try, if you're saying the ancients had the ability to produce like lava, I mean, that's a little bit of a reach. But what we do see for sure is they had ability to cut this stuff. I keep backing out of the here we go. More evidence of saw marks. Also drill marks. So the drill tubes, very, very weird. This is on the edge of a big granite box, precision box. But it's very interesting, these marks left behind by whatever this was. And what you do see is similar marks on unfinished boxes where it looks like they kind of used the same tool, whatever this was, to do the whole cut all the way down. Let's say you have a giant box that's hollowed out on the inside, and if ones that aren't finished, you could see these circular marks going down where they would then smooth it out. So potentially they cut the whole thing like that. But there's a lot of areas where you'd see attempt to start work and then they didn't finish, but they were trying to finish. And I don't have those photos readily available. We'd have to find them.
Have you come across Mud Fossil University?
Mud Fossil University? No, I haven't.
Roger.
Should we pull it up?
Oh, I don't. That's probably not. I think it's. You're.
Let's see the opposition.
It's totally different. No, man, this is like on the whole other end of the spectrum.
There's not enough pictures here. Damn.
What?
I thought there'd be more pictures here.
Oh.
I could try to find some. But anyway, let's just play this for a second. Now this is granite in Yosemite. Yosemite has arguably some of the strongest granite in the world. This documentary, we obviously we're not going to play the whole thing here or get you copyright striked or anything. But
yeah, I got one for, even though I knew the people whose channel it was,
and
they gave me permission. They gave me permission to do it, but it's like, how do I notify them? Like, hey, but
that's interesting.
I always talk about how my mom lived in Yosemite for a long time. Like, she lived
I love that area
below Yosemite Falls.
Really?
And Yosemite Falls, you could stand in
the valley.
Outside her place. Yes, they're like, "What'd your mom live in a tent?" And I was like, "No, dude, there's like a dozen houses right there." And you could stand outside like in her yard, and Yosemite Falls water would like spray you in the face. It was amazing. But the granite there, but that's where I always take it back to there are a lot of disappearances, and there's all these like portals opening up, all these stories for over 100 years, probably
in Yosemite?
Going on longer. Yeah, national parks, but in Yosemite, where even some in the over 50, 60 years ago, these accounts, late 1800s, early 1900s, where they talk about, and even in the 50s, where they talk about a portal opening up, and then they went someplace else, and they had these different experiences, but the way that they describe it all, that it was lit differently, it kind of felt like a cave, but they were in like, it's like almost like they're describing inner earth, but like the way that they talk, the way they describe the opening is like dimensional thing that opens up. So the fact that there's so much granite there, and as conducive as it is, and then it just makes me think, does that have an influence to why these portals or these wormholes or whatever opens up? Like, I don't know.
That's interesting. I've not heard of that before.
But I think it is the largest amount of granite in the world, or it might be the second. I forget the other one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of them, and it is the strongest. So the way it was made is important. Like, and then if you go there, you've been there, so you just pick up one of those like little pieces of it. It's super heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that or?
How heavy it is?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just fascinating because that stone is, for it to have been formed and reshaped. Like you got to understand how it's first made. So
But I mean,
that's
quartz
that's
is fascinating. Of like, we're all dependent on quartz crystal, quartz technology. It's in all of our phones. It's in all of our electronic devices. And do we fully understand
that's
what
true.
quartz is to begin with?
Well, maybe not, but we know how to use it. Like you're
That's a
saying,
lot of quartz.
we're
That's a lot of
definitely
quartz
using
in
it.
there.
Yeah, and
We're
this one,
dependent on it.
so yeah, Yosemite granite. They're saying it's just packed full of quartz, basically. And how did they get so big? Yeah, this will show you.
Where did that spring from? It's like, oh, hello.
Well, that's okay. That's natural magma flow in the earth, essentially.
Mm,
And then what it's doing there is, it's filling a cavity, basically, and then cooling. And that cooling process is what forms all those crystals and everything. And that
mm.
takes like I maybe millions of years, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years for that to happen. Again, that's how it's made in the first place. So you can't take material like that, break it down, reform it to look just like it did when it was formed naturally. It will look different. It won't be the same material. It will look like something else potentially.
It's also interesting too, of all like the largest lithium in the United States is on the border of Oregon and Nevada, and I don't think it's that far from Yosemite.
No,
Like,
yeah.
that's really, so I'm thinking of all the lithium in that area and all this quartz and granite in this area, and I'm just
That's
trying to think of
hmm.
like what
Yeah, that's above my head on that one.
above my pay
For sure.
grade. It's above my
Yeah.
pay grade. I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out. Where did
Now,
this come from?
um, I guess it's good to point out like that I am an engineer, so I look at these things with that sort of mindset. And when I see precision cut stone and precision made objects like in your thumbnail you put there, um, I could actually pull some of those photos up too. But those one aspect of work Ben Van Kerkwood does is because he does a lot of stuff, but these precision um, pre-dynastic Egyptian vases that they've found mainly under the Bent Pyramid in Saqqara, over 40,000 of them down there, and they've also found them in pre-dynastic burials. That's how they can kind of date them to that time period, because if you have burials with skeletal remains that they can carbon date and they date back to the pre-dynastic era, 4,500 BC plus whatever. Some
Mhm.
of them go back 14,000 years, which is another thing. There was one burial that was dated that long ago, and it had one of these vases in it. So it's like these people found, you know, you have a culture that may be picked up after the end of the Younger Dryas. I believe in that whole cataclysmic event. Um,
Do you believe in the timing that like 13.5 or whatever?
yeah, but
Okay.
I also think that a lot of stuff we're pushing back the dates is still conservative.
Mm.
I think it could go further back. I don't know. Like There's if it happened to have let's say a thriving civilization 20,000 years ago, that doesn't seem far-fetched to me in the time span, when if you have the ending about 12,000 years ago, and that's when they're finding carbon dates of all these sites. That's basically the end of that era or civilization, whatever you want to call it. So you have to have a beginning. How long was that beginning? That's what I'm saying. It could have gone to the last precessional cycle, which is also in favor of I think it's who was Robert Schoch or Robert Bauval. I think it was Robert Bauval who figured out the Sphinx was pointing directly at Leo during the last precessional cycle, not this one, but the last one, which could date it, make it even older, like 20,000, 24,000 years. Which I'm not opposed to that. So make it older, sure. But
you talk about being an engineer and taking it that and looking at things from an engineer mindset. And I, as a seer, I look at it like on a whole nother mindset. So it's interesting, like how I look at it versus how you look at it. But with the geopolymer, like I just thought it was people like mixing it. Like that's what the argument is. Like, did somebody mix this together, create these things? I thought it was an argument of like, were these formed, and did they take these structures that were already blocked out and mixed, or the people are saying like, no, they, like, so people think like they made this like in like a lab or a bucket of like a giant cement, like, I don't understand.
So let's argue that. Why would you make a different mold for every block? Because when we do concrete and brickwork, you use the same mold and you make it over and over and over again. It makes sense. Why would you make something with 400 different sides to it that concave perfectly with the stone you just put in and have to reform the mold every time? Or why would you need to do that in the first place if you have the technology to cut the stone? Because
so the argument isn't matter of so much of was this mixed, was the okay, so it's was it cut? What?
Yeah, I forgot the main one. We have quarries. Quarries are where they cut stone from in blocks and took it out. And I don't have that page up, but maybe next time, and we'll pull up. I'll get some pictures of quarries, sites of quarries.
We'll have geopolymer nights, Saturday nights.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Saturday night polymer.
All right.
It's a thing. It just became a thing tonight.
Cool. Let's do it.
And we can wear like medallions and like wear 70s clothes. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe do different themes of polymer.
70. What is it? 70s. Where's that coming from?
Well, first of all, I got invited. Well, I don't know. I love 70s fashion, and like Saturday Night Live is very, Saturday Night Fever, that's 70s. I got invited to an Afro party tonight, and then they FaceTime me, and I was like, I don't have an Afro, but I loved her jumpsuit. She was dressed like Foxy Brown, like Foxy Cleopatra from Austin Powers, Gold member, and I was like, I would wear that on the daily. Like, I'd go grocery shopping in a gold jumpsuit. Heck yeah.
Everyone would be looking at you like, wow.
I wish I was alive in the 70s. I wish I was like 20 years old. I wish I had turned 20 years old in 1970. I think that'd be an awesome time to be alive.
I think it was, yeah.
I missed it.
I definitely missed that as well. I do want to let's sidetrack a second, because you're in chat. Someone brought up something very interesting.
Yeah, Bernie wants to join too. He wants to talk about Bob Greenier's discoveries with this or something. I need to send him an invite then. a link.
Bob Greener's discoveries. Sure. Someone in chat, the Guardian jackpot. Whatever happened to the chamber under the hand of the Sphinx, which Edgar Casey revealed? I think that's what it says there. To contain items of significance that parallels with Rosetta. Okay, regardless of what's in there, I mean, the chamber of, or the library of knowledge. I think that's what they were saying.
How interesting.
Some sort of secret library. Now, the Zahi Hawass, and I think Mark Lehner, back in the 70s, they drilled, 70s or 80s, they drilled, maybe it was the 90s, sorry, a long time ago. They drilled on the left paw. So let's say, okay, you're on the left side of the Sphinx looking at the direction it's looking to. That paw, they drilled behind it off to the side. And they were like, oh, well, nothing's there. But it's almost like it was intentional, because any study of that, and then I believe there may have been, I don't know if there's any LiDAR study, but there seems to be pictures that show what stuff under there, like a side, I forgot the name of that, but anyway, I don't know if they got that with LiDAR scans, but essentially it's almost intentional that they dug behind where everyone says it is. Basically, it's in front of the front left paw, and this area happens to be where they built a giant wooden deck, because he was saying something about the Egyptian government sealed it. That's essentially like sealing it, because now when you go to the Sphinx, I've never been there. I've seen plenty of videos of it, though. The Sphinx has a whole deck built in front of it, and underneath that were these fissures, and you could the fissures are a bunch of blocks that look like it's. You could look at old pictures from the early 1900s, and if you go, anyone could look this up. 1800s, 1900s pictures of the Sphinx. You'll see what I'm talking about, and they covered all that. So, yeah, that's definitely something.
Well, I find it interesting too that Zahi, like, he got his university, he got a scholarship paid for by the Edgar Casey Foundation, and that he authorized them to do an excavation that, like, nobody, that the Edgar Casey Foundation people, and that I don't think the results, I don't think it was very disclosed or talked about, or like whatever was found. So It's like there was probably a successful excavation, and that has been guarded. But at least he's capable of having some loyalty towards somebody, because it is towards the people. It isn't towards us. And
I mean, he's already been, he was arrested for, backdooring antiquities. So, and they
what year was he arrested?
I think 2007 or 9, quite a while ago. And that's when he lost his position and as the head of antiquities, but he still has, it seems like he still has all the control. I don't know. He's definitely their face. Because look, he just did a speech on the findings of the void and the new chamber that they found in the Great Pyramid. He was the one to present that.
Really?
So it's like he's still that guy.
What date was that? In November they announced that?
Yeah.
Was it?
Year. No,
that's
2 years ago. Shit, this is.
I want to look up when they announced that with the void with Sagittarius. I'd like to know if it was like at the end of November to December.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it sounds about right. Anyway, let's play this, because I just want to show an example of a very large piece of granite that was cut out, moved, and shaped into this shape with tools. Not it wasn't melted, you know what I mean? This was, and we could see the unfinished obelisk. This obviously being cut out of the ground. Um, Stuff like that. Hold on. Mm, this one.
What if a bunch of drones with lasers like just cut this?
What's that?
What if like drones with lasers like went and cut this, or like how could I'm just thinking like a 3D printer or like some light lasers could probably do some pretty extraordinary things to these pieces.
The way that they're cut, it's confusing.
Yeah, yeah, because if
It's
it was
very confusing.
flying, what would hold it steady? I mean, it's so precise. It would probably be something on something that, but yeah, like a laser or like a laser light.
Yeah, I mean, almost needs to be something that precise because of how precise they are, like the flatness and everything. You can't just you get these corner. You can see my mouse, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So like these inside corners, it's just like those are incredible. We will play a little bit more. So, but yeah, this is Uncharted X. By the way, we're gonna show a little bit. Another stone on top of their different type. Can you hear that?
No,
The video?
no, it's probably
You can't.
better because like I got a copyright strike from. I mean, are you able to play videos? Because I had permission from the owners or from the
Yeah,
creators.
we're definitely not gonna play a lot. Just this part right here.
Is there like a time limit of when it's okay and when it's not okay?
I'm not sure. I really don't know how that works. Like, uh, maybe maybe it is AI based and it is not. When they catch certain keywords, or I have no idea. Honestly, it seems like a really complex system. Um, that isn't flawless for sure. There's some issues with it, but with the basic thing here is this thing was made
I'm
with tool.
sorry, I got FaceTimed from the. I got FaceTime with the Afro party. They FaceTimed me, so I missed what you just said.
Oh, no worries. I was just saying basically this box we don't have to play anymore, but it was made with tools. I want to get to these. No. So you see the different curves there on this. I mean, this decorative uh, border. I don't know what else to call that. But it is flat, 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 flat. None of that is round until now. What you see lower down, I think, is where they did smooth it out.
Unless there could be like a fluid that you soak it in that would shape it, like that you could. That's probably insane, though.
But the problem is this was supposed to be made before the Iron Age, so like we didn't have steel chisels doing this. Um,
I just feel like lasers.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting how the rough cuts are also precise, like this, because they didn't leave the whole thing like that. There's parts that are smoothed out, but it's still like, okay, that's pretty damn, that's as straight of a line. I mean, if you've ever, it's like you gotta granite, like if you ever get a big chunk of granite, anybody play around with it, just chip pieces off of it and see how it works out. It's not going to be the same every time. It's not uniform. You're going to have a really hard time to shape that thing. So this is very impressive, and any stonemason would recognize that. I just stopped that, but anyway, we shouldn't show. There's another example. This is interesting because this box is the Temple of Edfu, I believe.
Yeah, what John Williams said, lasers and high pressure water. I feel like water is involved too. It's just what I get. Okay, sorry. What is that? What are we looking at?
This is in the Edfu Temple. But this box, it's just like, I think they call it they just call it a shrine, but they put this wooden boat type thing. It's just like a model of a boat.
What if that's what was used to carry some of the pieces in water? Like if they put the things on, like that boat type thing. Like what if that was carried over water to get it, like to get certain pieces over there?
Well, this is definitely Egyptian, that boat. I don't think the thing behind it is. That is something they adopted, I believe. I don't, because this, and then they did their, what he was able to do. I don't know if it was this video or not, but this is very off limits. And to look at that, you're like way back behind a rope where the entrance to this room is, and you can't go in the room. So you only can see.
So this is only like Ben has pole. He's there. Yeah. Nobody's really seen this before. So this is like a revolutionary room that nobody's really seen.
No, so the fact that see it, but you can't do this. Look, they're in there. He's in there filming the inside of it. So you see how just this shiny and smooth, that granite is shinier than your brand new countertop, which is countertops, by the way. So people have seen granite countertops and granite that type of stone, all cut in slabs like this by a giant, huge circular saw, spraying water on it, and a giant machine. They take blocks and they'll feed it blocks, and they cut sheets of it off because they can't work with anything else. That stone is so ridiculous. The machines we have will only work with flat pieces. So you got to cut flat pieces. Then they could go ahead and make whatever they need. I believe someone talked to a company that does custom granite countertops and custom granite work. I have one down here too. I could hit up and see what they think about stuff too. But they showed them a picture of one of those granite boxes, kind of like this, or one that was in the Serapeum. And they're like, how much would it cost to make something like this? And they're like 40 million. We just couldn't do it because the tooling we would need, and the thing weighs so much, like just to cut the inside of it out like that they would break like millions of their fucking tools doing it just to get that inside cut out. You won't see that in today's like stonework, where big giant granite blocks with cutouts. They just don't do that. You can cut flat and then feed them through a machine, and that has giant polishing wheels with a slurry, and it uses a chemical compound to get that nice shine. But they were able to do it somehow, some other way. And the Egyptology explanation for that is sand. They rubbed sand on it to get that polished, where the polish hasn't worn down in how many thousands of years. So
So you think it's the way it's cut? You think it's a chemical that was put or something that was applied to it? Like, what
I don't know.
think
I
it
have
was
no
this
idea on that as far as
massive
polishing. Yeah, I couldn't even begin to guess on that. Like if they, because chemically, again, we'll talk a little bit about that. So like there, I've just heard some dangerous acids and stuff that I actually work with myself, that people with like sulfuric or phosphoric acid, let's just use that and it could melt the stone and reform. No, for them to be handling these chemicals, that then you're stepping in a whole nother world. Like what are, where's the factories they had to make the chemicals? Then how are they handling them? Like you can't touch that stuff. I don't know. There's no evidence that they had plastic or latex or gloves or PPE of any type.
mm,
Like it's interesting, but this could potentially be so old that anything other than stone has completely disintegrated. So
mm.
you may not ever find this stuff.
So
We have,
is this in that same room that Ben got in?
yeah,
Okay.
with the boat.
Ooh. Yeah, is that the same room?
Yeah, and you can't do this anymore.
What? You can't get in there anymore?
This was during COVID.
Go Ben.
That's a replica solar boat. So it's just a replica of an actual boat that looked similar to that. The solar boat was a astrological symbol that's also, well, in Edfu Temple, it's in the roof too. With the whole like astrology timeline. So I don't have any more to show on
Well,
this at this time. But
Saturday night polymer, there's always going to be another Saturday night.
yeah, let's do that.
Travis.
Yeah. I get some better stuff for you. But it's interesting.
We should open the lines up too of like having people come in to like I want to hear people like yell at each other over the geopolymer debate because
present the alternative or the argument for geopolymer, and then see if that's viable. I mean, it's just.
Well, it's hard to watch people argue and be so passionate about it when no one's really not necessarily clear on what it is to begin with. So it's like you might be literally agreeing and you think you're disagreeing.
Right. Well, yeah,
and there's so much like where one has, like one might have conclusions where they dove down this is geopolymer route. And so they came to different conclusions, like a different conclusion based off of other information that person isn't aware of. So the sharing of that is profound. That would be helpful. But
yeah, true. Definitely. Yeah, I'll get some more presentable information together. Definitely for the next one, but examples of the extrusive type of igneous is like we've only been talking about was formed underground, above ground formation, basalt, obsidian. You've seen examples of that. Obsidian is really like flaky. I don't know how they shaped those things, but there's been bracelets that look like bracelets that were found and dated to be 40,000 years old. And that was in Turkey. And similarly, those bracelets were found in Olmec territory in Mesoamerica as well. So Mesoamerica and Turkey, a lot of artifact ties in some weird way. So you can see the same type of artifacts. I don't have that to pull up either, but I can look for it real quick.
Now, if we were on one of your quantum computers you work with.
Yeah, you still have to tell it what to do.
I love that you always remind me of that. You're like, he's always like, Julia, we program it, okay? We program it.
It's all just like, I don't know. People psych themselves up for the AI, but it's just like a quick way to Google stuff that it can do things for you. Pretty cool. But what it's doing is collecting information just on like normal web searches and then compiling that for you. So
I
it's
like
not,
to think,
yeah.
yeah, I like to think that all of our souls do that in like an Akashic record way. And this is like a duplication of that, you know, like a mechanical version of that.
Gotcha. So someone's saying, look up this thing called what? Scaliolia?
I don't see where they said that.
Let's see. Crypto Alchemist. Look up Scaliolia. Now, I think I looked that up and there's nothing. Let me look. Let's try that. Because I want to see what the other argument is. Oh. Worms? Those are shells. I'm not seeing anything relatable to what we're talking about. Marble? Well, marble is a lot softer than granite, and it's made differently. They don't have much examples of like precision marble that in ancient sites. Later times, yeah, because they were able to like Romans love marble because they could shape it real easy. Their sculptors loved it. It's super soft, so you can, you know, make your Michelangelo faces and all that stuff. But none of that is precision work. There's no symmetry on any of that. It looks like a real person. And then you have those weird statues in Egypt. Don't necessarily look like people. And they're literally the same on both sides, perfectly symmetrical. Have you seen examples of that?
Examples of
these perfect symmetrical statues.
in my dreams, my fantasies.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll pull one up. This Cafre.
He says it's marble and granite geopolymer, but I'll be on shortly to explain better. That said, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. You know what I want to do? I want to create a harmonious geopolymer community that we hear, dude. We hear each other out,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can laugh.
Sure. Let's do that. I don't know what site this is, but you see that?
Oh, wow.
Just one example. There's lots of them. This one's in the museum. You can't touch it, but there's been. So what you could do is you could take a cross, just half of this face, and you could flip it, mirror it to the other side, and it is precisely aligned. And this is interesting because, for one, a regular person, you know, if you're trying to carve an actual face, it's not going to be perfect on both sides. It will look close, but measurably perfect on both sides, no. Chris Dunn, I'm going to reference him, so if anyone is more interested in that, Please look at Chris Dunn's book. He's wrote a couple books on this. He's studied at Luxor. There was a big giant statue head that was down before. They were able to get some good pictures of that and dimensions before they put it back up on the statue and, try to rebuild it. So check out Christopher Dunn's work on precision statues. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to show on the polymer stuff at this time, except quarries, number one to remember.
And where was the quarry? Like, how far away was the quarry from?
Well, let's see. That one is 500 miles away in Aswan.
In Aswan? Yeah. Okay, so that's Aswan, where the Isis temple, or well, that's where that is.
I think.
And then, so they probably moved it with water. Probably moved all of it with water. Period.
That's even like the mainstream idea about how they moved it, but that's just some of these stones are just insane. 170, 80 ton granite stones in the Great Pyramid, like way up the upper above the King's Chamber.
Oh my gosh, there's the funniest. Have you guys seen the outtakes of Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder? The outtakes of him. He talks about how he moved the pyramids with sound. He's like, with sound and a blanket. It's like a really funny scene, but it's really good.
No, I haven't seen that.
But to move the pyramids with sound and a blanket.
And a blanket?
Sound and a blanket is what he says.
Gotcha. And well, moving them would be weird, but let's reactivate them or something. But then, you know what? I think it's a little bit.
I think sound is the root of like the universe, man. Like everything, like it seems to heal us. It could heal and harmonize our body, the cells in our bodies. You look up at the stars; it looks like it's sound and light. And I think if sound has the ability to heal and like create a frequency, and it seems like a lot of these structures, these rooms are cut in a certain way. It's not like they were like, oh, I just want this at the perfect angle. Like with the whole intention behind it was that it was cut to make it sure when you go in that room, it rings at a certain frequency. Like it keeps it at those frequencies. So then it's like, oh, well, that's profound. Okay. Like, let me go. And a lot of them are at like 111 hertz. But it's interesting of that precision to induce that frequency. So it's taking it back to the frequency and then the sound. And then that is of knowing how to utilize it to direct things like even our own bodies.
Yeah. I believe that as well. Because have you heard of the people? I don't remember the names, but there's maybe a couple guys at this point that have done studies on curing cancer with sound frequency, different frequencies. And specifically, the frequencies are 300,000 to 600,000 hertz that I've heard. And there was a TED Talk. This guy presented all of his work. He showed petri dishes of cancer cells, and he showed there was a bunch of different types of cancer cells, not just one, like leukemia, whatever. And then he would have the frequency range displayed, and it would go to a certain point, and all of a sudden the cell would just annihilate. The cancer cell would just shred to pieces. It was all filmed in a microscope. So tell me why that TED Talk was removed.
Right. You're talking about Royal Raymond Rife, and
is that what it was?
Like Royal Raymond Rife and Keeley. There's been a lot of greats that have discussed this, but he was totally ostracized. Like they came in and destroyed his lab. They destroyed the microscopes. but he proved it.
Oh, they did.
So you would think, like,
Wow.
honestly, if somebody
They
would
went
have told
further,
me
huh?
this was discovered, this was like a public thing, and that we spent like that, how many years went by? If somebody would have told me back then, like after his lab was destroyed, like, okay, now humanity is not going to pay attention to these frequencies for this many years, I'd be like, no way, no way. It'd be like, yeah, there's an increase in these cancers, there's an increase in these parasites. Parasite education in medical curriculums will be in med schools will be removed in the 70s, and we are just gonna. Like, we're just gonna gung ho and not. We're gonna focus on petroleum based pharmaceuticals. I'd be like, no way, that's never gonna happen. I bet you everything that humanity will not do that. They will focus on the frequencies. Look at this. And I would be in disbelief. Like, there's no way we'll go in that direction. There's no way we would take a pill. Like, what? Most of these pharmaceuticals are duplicating, is a synthetic version of what's found in nature. And then it's petroleum based, like, doesn't, so it's just shocking to me of where we're at and where we could be and where we should be, and then where we've been as well. So, like, the whole frequency. So that's another thing I'll whisper in people's ears of, like, hey guys, how about you like invent something or like dive down to that, create something, like, let's relearn frequencies and that's another thing that Royal Raymond Rife said, is he said every disease lives in a frequency, and every disease dies in a frequency. So it's about, then it becomes an art form of knowing, like, well, what are you trying to, what do you have, of how do you treat it? Okay, you got to know what it is, and then which frequency to get it.
I agree. 100%. Yeah. Pharmaceutical stuff's all bullshit. I really, myself, I don't know. I don't like going to the doctor just because they're going to prescribe you something. And it's like, I don't even fucking need this. Like,
I think it's sad how much
make your money,
how clear they are about their incentive of, like, wait, all these people are given these SSRIs and these antidepressants and these benzodiazepines just based on some questions. Like, wait, so you have a chemical imbalance. Did you check their chemicals? Did you check their levels? Which chemicals? Nope. Is it a deficiency? Nope. Is it a gut disorder? Wait, if the gut and brain axis is clear, why aren't they testing your gut? Did you give them a stool sample? Then how are they able to assess that? Oh, they give you a questionnaire with multiple choice questions, and that's how you are now hooked on this thing and can't get off it, and you're having nightmares and night terrors and sweats.
You're nailing it. You've nailed it right now.
So the fact that, but they're clear, but the thing is, they get bonuses. So it's been, I feel like it was kind of manipulative, maybe 20, 30 years ago, like there was little incentives, but now it's like really obvious. I feel like, where it's like they get bonuses and they really want you on it, where somebody's just doesn't even really bitch about having anxiety or depression, and they're pretty much given it, where you're like, wait, what?
They get a commission. It's all they need. So,
and what's sad is I'll talk to people who they'll actually,
it's like
I'll talk to people about that are getting off of it, and because they come to me about like they're finally ready to parasite cleanse, but they're struggling getting off of it, and I'll guide them and help them. And some of them will buckle. They can't handle. They can't handle the side effects of getting off of it. And what's interesting is you and I, Graham Hancock even talked about this. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
Remember when he talked about he was depressed, and what Graham Hancock said is he said he was depressed, and he was trying to get and he went to the doctor, and they put him on antidepressants. And what was he might have been on it for a year or two. I forget how long he was on it, but then he was like, I got to get off these things. He said it worked at first. And then it was like, and then it just became like numb. He was like numb to everything. And then he didn't like the way it made him feel. It's almost like it cuts off your imagination, your creativity. And there's other things that happen, that occur or whatever, but that he wanted to get off of it. And then he did. And then it made him even more depressed than he originally was. And then he went and had his first ayahuasca experience, and that changed everything for him. And he said, Mother Ayahuasca handed him his greatest book as well.
Oh,
What's that book called, Travis? Gods of...
let me think. Chariot of the Gods?
No.
That's
Childress, I think. Somebody in the chat. Well,
that's
Graham Hancock, Gods of something. It's like bestseller, I think, to this day. But the fact that, he said I think that's where...
the Chariot of the Gods is Eric von Daniken, isn't it?
Don Van. Yeah, it's Don Vaniken. Oh well.
It's close. It's very close to that. It's like one word off, I think. Something else. Yeah. Wait, I don't know why I can't think of it. Gods with Amnesia.
That's it, hero. You're the winner. I'm going to showing that.
I like that one. That's hilarious.
Fingerprints of the Gods.
There you go. There. See, that was one word off. That's all I needed. Fingerprints. Chariots, fingerprints. Very different. Yeah. Very different things. Like completely different things. I don't know if Graham knew about that book before he wrote his. I'm not sure. But man, what a coincidence. They're so close together.
I wouldn't argue with Mother Ayahuasca. If she tells you, like, if maybe she told him the title as well. She's like,
oh, that was God. Okay. Yeah. Not going to change that one. Just that's what I was told. Here it is. Have you had any experience with that stuff?
I'm not allowed to take hallucinogenics. I'm not allowed to read tarot, and I'm not allowed to do hallucinogenics. And like, I literally, people could be like, what, but literally, like, I'm not allowed to. Like, spiritually, I was aggressively instructed not like that. I can't. And I've been in a lot of scenarios too, where it was like, oh, Julia, you got to try this. It's so interesting. Even in high school, I remember it was like, Julia, you got to try this acid. And they were like, they kept talking about it. And then I was there, and we were at a place in the canyon, and where everybody blows glass, like to like, it was really artistic, very like a hippie environment. And the person that kept asking me to like try acid, it was like something came over him and was like, you're not allowed to do this. Like, it even like all of a sudden saying that when, like, you're not allowed to do this. Like, you're too headstrong. Like, trust me, you're not allowed to. I was like, yeah, I know. But it's just interesting to see somebody that was trying to get me to do it. All of a sudden, it was like, no, you're not allowed to do this. And it was interesting. But yeah, no, I never have. I don't know if it would if change. Like, what?
You're really strong-minded to listen to that and be like, oh, wait, no, I can't do this, guys. Actually,
maybe it's because I'm supposed to be like an example. I'm supposed to be like, look, I've had all these profound visions and spiritual experiences. You can do this organically. And so had I done it one time, I would never be able to say that. I would never be able to show, look, you guys, there's a way to connect naturally. And it's almost like some of the visions and experiences that I have, are more compelling and are more amplified than some people's mushroom experience or ayahuasca experience or whatever. And so the fact that can exist, and maybe people haven't been exposed to that way. And I think that's why I do preach. Maybe it's annoying. Maybe I feel like a broken record or whatever of like parasite cleanse, liver cleanse, and meditate. And there's the water and pray. Like, there's a reason why I'm saying that. And there's to have the type of experiences everyone's looking for and needing. Because it shifts something inside you. When you have that experience, you aren't prone to depression. Like, when you see past those, like with Graham Hancock, it took, but him taking ayahuasca to snap him out of that depression. But, and sometimes that's where the medicine is needed, and to be intent with it, of like those circumstances.
Did it for the right reason.
Right. Of,
So he wasn't doing it to party. He was doing it because he had a problem and he wanted to find an answer.
And it's always interesting too how it takes you. It seems as though with what I've noticed with people that do ayahuasca, which I wish there was an ayahuasca wellness center as much half of Starbucks. Can you imagine if there was ayahuasca wellness centers like Starbucks? We wouldn't be living like our
Oh,
society
there'd
wouldn't
be
be
lines. There'd be lines
right. No,
around the
but
block.
people would be awoken, like the way it could help them, the awareness it would give them. But it's interesting. What I was saying was of how it seems as though what I notice is that with people who have ayahuasca experiences, it takes you into their subconscious, like your deepest, darkest fears, and it makes you confront them and see
Yeah,
it. And
it's
it's
nuts.
so raw and
Pretty
it jolts
crazy.
you and it's painful and they sob like, little boys or little just children, and it brings them to this innocent state, but it
Oh yeah,
forever changes them. It like forever. And that's
sounds
what I
scary
think
as
people are
hell.
missing. Huh?
Sounds scary as hell. Definitely. Like a scary experience.
It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier about in the beginning about, okay,
Yeah.
imagine confronting all of your biggest fears, like one after the other. How invigorating of like, oh, squirrel suit. Okay. Okay. What's the one thing I don't want to do? Okay. Squirrel suit. All right. We're doing that and just
Jumping
banging
off.
them all out
Yep.
of like,
Yeah, that one.
that's got to be empowering.
You die basically. Someone also said, "Don't argue with Pachamama." That's right. So Pachamama, the Inca goddess, right? Of life, of creation, something like that. Pachamama.
Oh, yes, I love that, hero. Dandelions are one of the most beneficial. It's so good for your heart too.
Dandelion?
I actually made some dandelion tea like last summer. I went
Yeah.
and picked them,
Interesting.
and it's
But
everywhere.
isn't that what's chamomile from? Is
The
that
flower, right?
dandelions though, or is that a different flower? Same thing, they said.
Isn't that amazing? The flower essences. I actually went. I was working really. I was going to the gym a lot, and I was working out really hard. And they were like, "What pre-workout are you taking?" And I had this water, and the only thing that was in the water was because a healer had sent me all these flower essences, like hundreds of dollars worth of flower essences. So I took. And some of them they unlock certain things within you, right? And I was toying around with them, and I just ended up putting like a lot of just basically all of them in my water. And I brought it to the gym and I was working out really hard. And they were like, "What pre-workout are you taking? Like, what do you got?" And I had my water and I literally, it was like something out of a movie. I was like, "No, flower essences, bro."
That's really funny.
But I was dead serious. I was dead serious. But it was unlocking things within my mind and in my life. And it amplified my visions. It amplified my workouts. It amplified my everything. And that's why I think I'm going to get behind this flower essence company, because I would never get behind something that didn't work or wasn't like something I believed in, Right. So I want to get behind that. And this garlic tincture stuff.
Good. That's good.
Was amazing and profound, and they're out of Europe. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna try it. But and I had just done like a garlic video, and it's so beneficial for you. Oh my god, you guys! But they made the tincture, and so I was like, yeah, no, I'll try it, but like, tell me how it's made. And it's like this secret, and it was like, yeah, we can't tell you like how we do it. It's like this guarded secret for like thousands of years of how to make it. And I was like, yeah, no, it's okay. I won't tell them, but like, I need to know.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely want to know, like.
And then publish it. So you're, what was it? The
garlic. The flower essences.
Garlic.
The garlic tincture. And it's, is he in Austria? It was amazing. Like, It was like a nootropic where I took it and I couldn't believe the energy and fire it gave me. I wasn't expecting that.
Oh,
they had
like
told me, like I had
like a
heard about
coffee
it, and
replacement
like
kinda thing?
Andreas Exertus, his dad tried some, and his dad has like dementia or Alzheimer's, and he saw an improvement and would like request for the tincture. So I was like, really? So I was like aware, but I don't think I believed it would like have like a nootropic effect on me. But it
Mhm.
did, like instant, like it did that day, the very first day. And
So you don't
yeah.
remember that recipe or
Oh no, they didn't tell me how the
oh, they didn't
recipe.
tell you? Okay.
No, but I think
The garlic
I
was the
became.
main ingredient?
Yeah,
Or
it's a garlic tincture, so it's like an amplified version of
tincture?
it. Yeah, tinctures. Tinctures are when you take an herb and you mix it with alcohol, it like amplifies it. Tinctures is always the way to go on anything. Like I was like, for someone to open, I talked to this guy, he was really wealthy, and I told him this business idea because I just don't think I'll ever do it. But to have, instead of a bar, you have a tincture bar where it's like all these tinctures of different herbs. So like you go and you take a shot, like it could be like for focus or this, or like in one that gives you like, or towards the end, you meet a girl at the bar, male vitality. It has like shaga and like cat's claw and like just certain
Oh,
things that,
okay.
would give you the vitality, where you could take different like shots, tinker shots, or making them, I don't know, implementing other things in them, botanicals and different fruits to make them drinks of these
Okay.
herbs that can help open your mind, but in a social environment. So instead of like going to a bar and getting wasted, it's like you go to a tincture bar with like this plant medicine
Oh, that'd be
and
cool if they had that.
socialize.
Wow. Why
I
don't they
would
have
like,
any of those?
dude, I went to Sedona.
They
I
should
was in
be everywhere.
Sedona. Okay, I was in Sedona. I got so excited when somebody brought up like what's it called? It was a alcohol-free bar. What's it called? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't remember this. But
It was a whole
it's
bar,
alcohol-free, but
alcohol
like
free?
you go it when it was like wilder. I felt like I was like at a rave mixed with like a club where and what's his name? Raw Raw, whatever his name is.
Oh,
He has a YouTube channel and stuff, and he's a speaker. He was DJing, but it's a kava bar. It's a kava bar,
Kava
and it's
bar. I've
kava.
heard of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and but they also have these like botanical drinks and stuff, and I was like, this is what I was telling the guy, like to open kind of a little bit. It was kind of a version of that, and that is those type of
I
social
wonder if,
environments. Yeah, and having like oxygen there and like
okay.
a vitamin infusion would be wonderful. Whoever,
Yeah.
somebody, I'm giving you golden ideas. Run with them.
Someone
3D print a bunch of filters or a
Kratom
bunch of
bar.
things that could help structure water with
Yeah,
magnets and
that's
copper.
bunch of ideas.
And infuse it with minerals, create tincture
Rock
bars.
Castaldo? Rock
No, it
Castaldo?
wasn't Raw Casaldo. Oh my god, what's his name? You guys, he said he made a med bed. Um,
That I wonder if people would abuse that. Like, even though it's like a health bar, you got like addicts in there freaking going crazy on the oxygen. Like, no, I need this all day long. Can't live without it anymore.
um,
I bet you that would happen.
what was it? Anthony Kiedis said that. Those. Oh my gosh, it is. You could get it in a shot, or you could get them in IVs. It's like oxygen. What is it called? Why am I having so
Sure.
many?
It's all good. You actually, so Julia, this is Julia's second show today. So kudos to you. I couldn't do that. It's a lot of work. No one's I'm sure your brain's a little fried from that. But I have a picture up here while you're thinking of that.
No, I like, yeah, thanks. Cause like I retain, what happens is I I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly perceiving. I put so much data, and then I'll get frustrated if I can't remember something. When it's like, Julia, I like overload my system, and then I feel like the way I tell a story is very like Italian. Like I don't like giving a whole bunch of details. You guys will notice at the end. I'm sorry, I'm like this. This is just how I'm wired. Like I'm very like
All good.
to the punch, with the bullet points. Like I don't put a lot of fluff in it or anything. I'm like, it's very Italian of like, so yeah, there was this guy, right? Like, the teachers, you take it, you make it, I don't know, like it's very like
yeah. That's
the
a good way
details.
to put it.
Yeah, it's very like, I don't know, he was a guy. But
You gotta
it's
fill in the blanks. Just, you know what it is. Just fill it in. Yeah. That works.
It works. At least you get the details, and I'll get frustrated sometimes when people take a long time to say points because I'm like, dude, that was unnecessary. You could just say, like, just say the main parts and like, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. But there is, I think, a seduction with
I could have done that
presenting, like, of presenting info in a certain way that is, there is a dance to it of like the way you lay it out. It's like being an artful lover and seducer, whereas it doesn't always have to be like boom, boom, boom. Like, but most of the time,
it's a talent. Some people are really good at that. I'm no professional speaker, and I didn't have like what I wanted to like really show you. It wasn't all bullet pointed, straight to the point stuff either. I'm like looking around everywhere. So yeah, I didn't bring that here for you either.
Damn it. Well, damn you for that.
Maybe next time. Yeah, I didn't. I was rushing into getting this going, but now I could do it more regularly. So anyway.
Where's this at that we're looking at?
In Peru. I forgot exactly where, but I believe it's probably right by Sacsayhuaman, or right just like on the outskirts of Cusco. There's so many sites around there.
So is this like the biggest supporter of like, look, this was cut out for sure?
No, this is just one example. There's tons of these, and this is the Hanan Pacha work. So in Peru, Brian Forster's been a really big spearhead of this kind of research on who do they get it from? Christian. Oh man. So the Peruvian guy who came up with this idea of three different types of three examples of construction. This type, the Hanan Pacha, the Urin Pacha, which is like the wall, the Sacsayhuaman walls and all those really precise stone walls that you see, all megalithic. Here, let me find some. Oh yeah, we got here walls. Boom. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Ben.
We love you, Ben.
Oh yeah. Ben is a good friend. And anyone here who hasn't checked out Uncharted X, please go do that. And Uncharted X Live is the channel that I help him out with, basically, at this point. There's some old stuff on there, but it's going in a new direction. Yeah, so this type of work would be considered the Urin Pacha, or the second type. Really precise, insane.
Whoa, that's like a whole nother vibe. Whole
nother
era.
This is inside the Coricancha. It's like the Spanish church in Cusco, but thankfully they built it around this thing. So this is inside, and it's super preserved because it's not exposed to elements at all.
Wow.
but this has some of the most insanely precise joinery of any stonework there is. Like there's you couldn't fit half of a human hair through in between any of these stones. They're just so close together and perfectly formed. And none of them, I don't, you can measure them, but I'm pretty sure
but if
they're
it
all
was cut,
different
why
sizes.
would they do little bricks like that too? If you could just cut into it, I feel like you'd be able
Right, and like stuff like
to.
this, like, look at that. That one's curved, and then they threw this one in there with a curve to match that
God,
curve.
this makes me think there's like magnetics involved.
Well, that's interesting because let's
Like,
go to Puma
look at
Punku.
that.
Have you heard of the H blocks? Puma Punku.
Yes.
Okay, those have magnetic anomalies like crazy.
Really?
Yeah, so
This
they throw off compasses and everything.
really.
Yeah, I thought I'd be able to find a Lima, Machu Picchu, Napahuaca. Oh,
Yeah,
because
magnetic
it's in Bolivia, isn't it?
magnets.
That's why.
It's Lake Titicaca?
Yeah, so Lake Titicaca is on the border of Bolivia and Peru. So these sites, I think Pumapunku and Tiwanaku are in Bolivia, which sucks because Bolivia's their government sucks. Anyway,
One time I was remote viewing one time I was remote viewing and I haven't really. Oh, okay. Look who's here.
There's the H blocks. To
Should we do Bert and Ernie voices?
Hello.
yeah. Well, we almost need your intro roll to come in before you join like that.
Gotta take away though. Those H
How's it
blocks are
going?
next level. So you believe that the H blocks are carved, not geopolymer? Is that correct?
I'm not sure on these, but what type of stone is that? Is it andesite or basalt?
I'm not sure.
Wait, Bernie, really quick before, did you hear the part? Like he showed me some wall, something that was like left inside, and to me, I was like, I just feel like magnetics are involved in that, the way that it was designed. So he wanted to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that's an interesting point that you're making because I just felt like there was magnetics involved in that last example. Travis,
And this too. Yeah. Oh, you want me to show the wall? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's back. These are in Bolivia. We'll go back to Coricancha.
And the way how tight it was too.
Yeah, here's a good picture of it. The cornerstones in the Coricancha. This you could look in the Valley Temple in front of, next to the Sphinx Temple, when it looks just like that, but a little bit bigger blocks, and they're granite. They're rose granite.
And
I believe
you can clearly see a vein crossing through one of those blocks. So this definitely would be from carved, not geopolymer, to get the vein in, right?
Yeah. See, that's
But the other site, Travis, the one that I said that to, it looked like you said it was indoors and it was like an aerial.
This is
the bottom version. It was
Yeah, this is just a different. This is the outside of it, and you can see the megalithic construction that they built on top of. This is amazing.
Isn't there actually like a stairs going down in that part at the top there, that balcony or something? And
I don't know,
underground compartment or something in there. I think I saw once.
I wouldn't be surprised because I wouldn't be surprised if there's underground chambers all over this area, and they just refuse to dig. They don't want to excavate anymore. Just that bothers me a lot, but. What can you do? I believe there's plenty of stuff under the ground that we're not able to see just in all these places, especially Giza. Uh, that could be a whole nother show, but
Saturday night,
yeah.
Saturday night polymer. It's our new thing.
I like it.
Okay, sorry, Julia. You wanted this.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I look at that and I get magnets, like magnetic. Look at that. It's like zoop.
Well, that's
Do you guys
when
understand
I
what
brought
I'm
up.
saying? Do you understand what I'm saying?
You mean to shape them or to hold them together?
Yes, like to pull them together. And the way
potentially, because there's somehow they had to cut each one of them to form perfectly with the one next to it. And as Bernie was saying, you could tell, when something has a crystalline, stripe through it that you could see, that's a natural discoloration of the stone. And there's a cut that's clearly, not reformed. It's a good example. The boxes in the Serapeum, big giant crystals across the sides of those things that they're formed in the granite. It's all natural.
Yeah, and the crystal structure in the granite of those is the same as what you find in the quarries. Thus, it couldn't have been ground down to geopolymer compared to some of the sites which I wanted to bring up of Bob Greenier's work, where they came up with this device called the wind hex, which doesn't use electricity, just like vortexed air, and it's able to break the stone down on the molecular level, and then from that, he says they were able to use it for geopolymer, but that's for just specific sites, right? It's like the majority of ancient sites were most likely carved, and there was just one era, one civilization most likely that did the geopolymer at some point in time in the past.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Wait, so how does it vortex? What did he say about it vortexing the air?
Yeah, so this wind hex machine, it basically just creates like mini tornadoes of the air, which spinning so fast is able to break the ionic bonds in the stone, if I understand it correctly, down into the powder. And then from that, they then add in the lime, I believe it is, that is the catalyst and the chemical reaction for geopolymer to recrystallize and form.
So it'd be like a giant factory with like, is it indoors? Is it outdoors? Like
that sounds like some high tech stuff too.
Is it under the ground? Is it beneath the earth?
I think it's like in a little box thing, so like it could have been utilized outside. I need to get more info on it to answer that correctly. But it was the fact that it didn't need electricity. It was just you pumped air through it. So just like a mechanical pump would be enough to create the force to ionically break down the stone into dust. At which point you're then just carrying bags of it to turn into blocks where you're solidifying it.
That's the thing. If we could see one of those bags,
right? Exactly. Or just even the form of one of the blocks, right? Like the original casing that it would have been poured into, the mold, if there was a mold left anywhere, but there is not. So who knows?
But doesn't it sound like more work than if you had the tools to cut it already?
It depends on the distance and the size of the blocks, but then you're bringing up the case that a lot of the giant blocks, it doesn't seem like it's been recrystallized, that it's the original crystal. So then that just adds to the mystery of it, and more likely that it was carved. So
yeah, here we go. That's a perfect example right there.
100%. Like that had to been originally carved from out of
the veins.
Yeah, veins, exactly. You couldn't put in a fake vein into a geopolymer. Like, it evenly mixed.
Right. That was formed by the Earth. Mother Earth did that, and then we cut it out. Someone did. I don't know about whoever you want that to be. I'm also open for interpretation there too. We see plenty of examples of potentially extinct versions of humanoid, like the giants, elongated skulls, the Paracas people, and those have been found all over the place. England, Peru, Turkey,
Malta,
where else?
Siberia,
Malta,
Africa.
everywhere.
Travis, did I ever tell you that when I met you? I felt like Travis was related to elongated skulls people.
Hey, I would love to have brain that size.
But you know what? I never hear anybody say. I mean, maybe there's people that say it. They that you hear aliens built the pyramids. You hear titans, giants, but you never hear anybody say angels built the pyramid. You never hear that. It's interesting.
No, I haven't.
Good
I definitely
point. Could be.
Let's say the same person who did the soul reading on me I was talking to you about, Julia.
Mm-hmm.
Another story, was also not really into this subject, like, as much as we are, but I asked her anyway. I'm like, so if you can, you could tap into these energies and get some answers. Who built the Great Pyramid? I asked her. She said it was giants. And she's not even into this stuff, and she said it was absolutely giants. But oddly, I asked her about those giant walls in Sacsayhuaman. She said that wasn't giants, and that actually surprised me. Like, really? Okay.
Can you imagine the angels falling down here and being like, wait a second, like this isn't gonna cut it. I need things that I had back home. Let me make it a little more comfortable here.
Oh, I like the tools to cut all this stuff. What's interesting, I mean, if there was equipment of any sort, it's gone. I mean, we already see examples of, what's that navigation device they found?
Antikythera machine or something?
Yeah, Antikythera machine. Yeah. So that is maybe one example of, ancient high technology, but we just happened to find it because it was in the bottom of the ocean. I don't know if it was exposed it was almost gone. But anything like that's buried in the dirt or something, it's just going to it's just going to decompose, turn into dust, and there it goes. But if
anything in salt water, like, it just erodes and corrodes and gone.
Yeah. I love that there's someone in here named Enki.
Enki's here.
And Enki says cool emoji. Great.
Enki's one cool god.
Now, was Enki Enki and Enlil, was Enki the good one? One of them was the bad one, right? Or one of them
there's actually arguments about this because there's people that say like that it's opposite. Everyone says that Enlil is the bad one. The majority says that Enlil is the bad one and Enki was the ones that like created us and tinkered with us and wanted to defend us and had like a soft spot for us and wanted to protect us.
Gotcha.
And that, yeah. But then there's ones that are like, you have it backwards.
Well, yeah. And that argument is the god that was doing the killing and the destruction and all that was not the creator god, right? God, like not God the creator, but one of those.
But one would argue, Travis, they would say, well, that also came from the creator. So if the ones that are doing the destruction also came from creator God, then it would be from God. Then we go down a philosophical rabbit hole for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
3.5 days, more like it.
Yeah, you could go forever on that stuff. But that's all great conversation.
But I definitely believe and support the giant hypothesis, especially with the Younger Dryas event, and that it's well recognized in modern science that there was the megafauna before the Younger Dryas catastrophe, and there was literally large sightings of every single animal, mammals included. So why weren't there also giant humans?
That's very good argument. I haven't actually heard that one. But it's more,
there was giant beavers, giant sloths, giant armadillos, giant mammoths, mastodons, saber-toothed tigers, literally giant everything's, giant dinosaurs, which are reptiles, everything.
Dinosaurs are
then
huge.
There had to be giant humans too. Why not?
Right. Now, especially if, let's say, the Sahara Desert used to be a jungle. Imagine the oxygen levels of the planet back then compared to now.
Yes.
I heard we used to be silica based, and that's why everything used to be larger. Like it was silica based, and that's why you see these remnants of large trees, these giant. Have you guys seen like the giant thing? It looks like giant petrified mushrooms.
Oh, no. But silica based is like stone and sand. We're carbon.
Well, it is now. You know, I'm just of that. We used to be silica-based beings, not carbon-based beings. Like we're carbon-based now.
That's
like there was a
swap, but maybe on another planet, like the higher density gas giants or something, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Made of stone on like Jupiter, so the insane gravity doesn't crush you. Could be. But who really knows? Like something wiped this out.
Right.
Wait, so we were talking about geopolymer burning. I'm not really clear on what because I know it's an argument, and I know that there's been friendships, the community ripped apart. I mean, so I don't. So maybe you can help me understand of like the geopolymer of like the dynamics of the argument and the beliefs.
Well, it's like some people think it's all geopolymer. Some people, just go with whatever the evidence is. And then there's those that think that I guess that it's all like biogeology, like the titans and leftover giants and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I kind of mentioned it to Travis, but I was like, oh, I can't bring up like mud fossil university stuff. Like I felt like it would like it's so far in the other direction than where his mind is at that
it fits into the 5 eras theory of like that there was first like the master god builder race or whatever that were like titans, and then after the titans there was like the Lumerians, and then the giants and the Atlanteans, and then
like Hyperboreans.
Like
it seems like
smaller and smaller.
It seems like there was multiple eras too. Yeah, like you're saying. Like what about the Yanagi ruins off the coast of Japan? Like
the Yanaguni.
Yeah, Yanaguni. Sorry, how do you explain that stuff? And that's just one place. I bet if they did any sort of coastal archaeology along all these places that have not too deep, of water within
400 feet.
Yeah, let's say within like a 5-mile coastline, radius or whatever. They haven't looked for that. They only look for shipwrecks and treasure and stuff like that. But no one's out looking for ancient ruins. We just happened to find the ones that we do know about off Alexandria, I believe, in Egypt, and then the Bimini Road.
Yeah.
Where's that one? Is that in the Caribbean?
Off of Bahamas, maybe, or
and Graham Hancock's dove there, and I mean, that's pretty compelling stuff to me.
Oh yeah, and it's like 85% of the human population lives on the coast right now. So if
Yeah,
there was
exactly.
a giant tsunami and the oceans were to raise, pretty much
Prime
the same
real estate.
thing, right?
I'm on the coast. Julia's on the coast. I don't know about you, Bernie.
I'll be a survivor.
Yeah.
In the oceans of Canada.
Ocean's 5 minutes away. Yeah.
So I guess the good news of if you all die in a massive catastrophe is I'll have beachfront property, but that's not really good news because you'll all
Yeah, that would be
That's like the guy that, what's his name? He goes on tangents about like how climate is nonsense, like climate, the warming of the climate is nonsense, and that all these billionaires and all these people with money wouldn't be like having all these properties along the ocean, along coastlines. You guys know who I'm talking about?
no. I don't think
I think
so.
I've seen some of the videos, but I don't know the name.
Yeah, he goes on rants.
I personally believe that there's climate change, but it's not necessarily caused by us. And it seems like the sun's also changing. It seems like the ice caps on the moon and Mars seem to have melted or disappeared or something, but it's like they're no longer
really?
talked about or seen, or so what's happening?
I haven't heard of that. They're gone now?
I don't know, but like there's no talks of it. There's no pictures of them recently, and it's like I remember as a kid there was always the ice caps of Mars, the ice caps of the moon, and
yes,
they don't even
you're right.
acknowledge it, and it's like, oh, we might find water, but it's like, okay, we already established that there's freaking ice caps there. Like, of course there's water.
Yeah, you're right. The Mars ice cap. What the hell? Why didn't we land there?
Right?
Yeah. Huh.
Exactly. So is it gone? What the hell is going on?
It's a good question.
It's being covered up, whatever.
Definitely.
There
isn't as much ice coverage as there was pre-Younger Dryas, right? Wasn't there like a 1,000-foot wall of ice? We're like in Canada.
Yeah, I believe
that
that's
time
what
period.
they say. Yeah, it's like pretty much all of Canada was covered by an ice sheet, so that the equatorial areas were shallower with more land, and that how would it have been warmer if there was more ice though? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's interesting. Different composition of air, more oxygen versus other things can change things, but too much oxygen, the air will just be flammable.
Right? Boom.
So, yeah. But I'm pretty sure, like, we know that when the dinosaurs lived here, the levels were really, really, really high, insanely high. Because there's just plants everywhere. But
yeah, like
that supported those giant animals, like you're saying. It also supported that because they needed that extra oxygen. They wouldn't be able to live now.
You guys, you guys see the thing about? I think CNN even covered it about uncovering of a dragon. And I found it interesting because it was like right after it became the year, like as it became the year of the dragon, February 2nd. And then I saw that article and I was like, no way.
You're going to have to pull that up.
Yeah, I'm going to grab that. I'm going to grab that.
I definitely haven't heard of that.
But it's like dragons are literally in the fossil records as dinosaurs. So
yeah, dragon. Scientists unveil 240 million year old dragon fossil. And what date was this?
Dragon fossil.
February 23rd. This was February 23rd. So 20 days after it became the year of the dragon. And it shows it. Do you want to see the picture?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. We gotta make you large.
Oh, you could do that?
There we go.
So
What?
there's the photo of it.
Oh,
And then,
what the hell?
yeah. And then,
I
okay,
just
so
caught what
newly
that was.
discovered fossils have allowed scientists to reveal a 240 million year old dragon in its entirety for the first time ever. National Museum Scotland said in a statement on Friday the 5-meter long reptile from the Triassic period in China was first identified in 2003. But after studying 5 newer specimens for 10 years, scientists were able to depict the entire creature, which is named Dinocephalosaurus orientalis, one fully articulated fossil. The last to come to light offered a beautiful, complete specimen from the tip of the nose right down to the tip of the tail.
That's so weird. Like, what is differentiating this one for them to call it a dragon, though? Right? It's
Yeah. That was.
And it's got a really long neck. This is interesting. This is really interesting.
Rings?
Yeah,
It's like I'm still baffled by the function of the long neck. They did an artist rendition, which kind of makes me think of what's its name from
Ogo Pogo? No.
The Loch Ness.
Loch Ness.
Doesn't it have like a Loch Ness vibe?
Here, I got it. Yeah.
A bit.
That's
fact
the artist rendition.
That's the artist rendition of it.
I got, if you want to pull up my other screen, I have that picture you were showing us. That's what this is, right?
Yeah. Looks like it.
Wait. Dragon fossil in full. Where? Let's see.
So everything else a dinosaur, but this suddenly is a dragon.
And they revealed this 20 days after it became the year of the dragon.
That's hilarious. Okay.
Weird.
So it was, yeah. It looks like one of those water dinosaurs.
Cephalopod or something, I think they're called.
Right. They see the arm. It looks just like it.
Yeah. Looks like a normal dinosaur skeleton.
What if?
But the thing is, in Chinese zodiac, like you're telling me that all the animals exist except for one of the Chinese zodiac signs, which would be a dragon. Which, I don't know. I believe in dragons.
Well, I just believe that dinosaurs and dragons essentially were one and the same, and that humans or humanoids lived alongside them at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
You guys imagine flying on a dragon. Imagine being like, okay, is it snowing? Like, I'm gonna flying on a dragon.
I think it would eat you first, but that would be interesting. I don't know if you would want to see that. But this right here was a water creature for sure. See the hand?
Yeah, like paddles, right?
Yeah, those are paddle flipper bones. Maybe this was originally the rib cage along here, and it got blown back or something. It looks like it was twisted, but then the tail goes this way, right? What is this part?
Yeah, it's a giant parasite, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
It's protozoans ancestors.
It's the same thing as what people that Loch Ness Monster. Oh, I can't even get out of that. Goodbye. Yeah. I don't know if you had any more for this one, but
Oh wait, Sovereign Cosmic Wildman says, "Yo, that heart shape is so obvious. Why is no one seeing what I'm seeing?" Wait, go back to the picture. What heart shape? I see hearts in everything, wild man. It's my problem.
this
Oh, the heart right there, like to the
right
right.
here.
Yeah, we see the heart.
That's where I was saying this looks severed, and like it was originally going along with this, but it was separated.
Oh, is he saying? Wildman? Are you trying to say like this was buried in a way, like in a heart form of like there was honor in it, and it was done on purpose? I don't know.
This is in the stone. This is in rock. That is a fossil in stone. I wish they would show more than this picture. You know, why is it just that picture? If you have what the hell is that? That's a weird website. Sorry. Anyway, if you have something like that, you're calling it a dragon, when you want some more photos?
We need to be dragons with our hearts. We need to be in spitfire and like speak our heart, and be passionate about what's inside our heart. That's the message I'm going to take away from it, wild man.
Good. Let's do it. All right, wild man. There you go.
Actually, Cosmic Wildman had like a great video. Bernie, remember that? You showed his video of a really cool spot.
So I myself believe I have experienced either a Thunderbird or a pterodactyl, petrodactyl / dragon, whatever the heck it was. But it was 3:30 in the morning. It was flying overhead. I was in Drumheller, Alberta, which is like Badlands that are very famous for the Royal Tyrrell Dinosaur Museum. And the whole area is filled with different caves and stuff. And it was like, all of a sudden, I just like got a shudder of like when you feel like you're being hunted and prey. And all of a sudden, it's like I look up and it was a full moon and it gets blocked out by this giant thing. And I happen to have my laser pointer on me and I like lasered it. And as soon as like the laser hit the thing, and it was like a good 1,000, maybe a couple thousand feet up in the sky. So I was like high up, and that it just like dove and like disappeared. It was freaking wild.
You hit it with the laser though.
Yeah, I got it with the laser for like just like a microsecond, and as soon as like the laser hit the thing, it like went from gliding to just like diving. And
oh,
it was weird.
Where was that at?
Was
Drumheller, Alberta.
Was that cool places you were showing with your dog the other night with Hans?
No,
like that was that looked like Cappadocia. That was a cool spot, Bernie.
Okay, I can show some more of that if you'd like. That's writing on stone.
That was fascinating.
Sure.
I suspect writing on stone to be a former like civilized site or like megalithic site. And it's yet another Badlands. It's always the Badlands that have these very suspicious sites.
So are those Ben's bases?
Yeah, sorry. These are not Ben's, but Ben was the he's the organizer of this whole thing. So it was a investor.
There's a movement.
Yeah, because these are not cheap. Like this guy spent almost, I think, over $1 million
for just those on the table right there.
No, there's a few more.
Oh, those are unbelievably amazing artifacts. Hey, like how the heck did they make them?
Right. So those are all Ben's right there. So there's Ben, and then
Yeah, he's the organizer though. Yeah, he's.
He bridged it. Okay.
Right. So they're all owned by an investor who lives in Florida. His very wealthy guy. He purchased them in antiquities auctions and antiquities, legitimate purchase sources, right? And each one of these vases has provenance attached to it, dating back to when they were either first sold or first procured in a museum, and then either sold from there or whatever. So they all have history. For those who want to say they were made in modern times, no, they don't just sell fake antiques in any of these places that you would go to buy these. And you're not going to, yeah. It's, you can compare them to the ones that are in the museums, and they're the same. So basically, he was able to organize. That guy is buying them. Okay, Ben knows Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn has the aerospace, lab up in Pennsylvania or whatever, and his son works there. So they used their equipment to then get some measurements on these. Have you seen any of the vase scan projects, Julia?
No,
I think
I
Bernie
just saw.
probably has, but
how
like
recently were they done? Like,
within the last year. I think it was like last November.
I need to catch up on that. It's been about a year or two since, well, 2 or 3 years now. Since I started podcasting, I have not been able to watch as many podcasts, and I really need to catch up on Christopher Dunn's work, as he is amazing and one of the inspirations behind my own research, for sure.
Okay, got it. Well, yeah, he was there. He's one of the main guys behind these measurements and the final data that they obtained from these vases. So this one he's holding is so thin that if you shine a flashlight in it, that's close up of Ben's face. The light shines through the stone. Wow. So they cut it so thin without breaking it, which is fucking amazing, because it's excuse my language.
Whoa, wait, this is blowing my mind. I can't handle it. No,
this is a whole like,
Travis, what the heck, man? Why haven't you told me about this?
I have cases of ammo we could pull out. And no, I have a weird like assumption that people know these things, and I just shouldn't do that.
Well, we like your treasure trove, and
what's that?
We love your treasure trove of ammo of these U parts, and that these are prime examples of stuff that are unexplained because you need powered machine tools to make them at the very least, and they're definitely not geopolymers either, because you can see that they have the original crystalline structure of them. It's not been ground down and reformed.
Look at that. Look at those crystals. That's amazing, right? And what you can deduce from this, there's a really dark black, kind of a gray, and then the light, probably quartz. This is multiple material on one surface. Each one probably has a different hardness, probably has a different requirement to cut versus the next one. So what they were able to achieve was the same precision cut across all the different material to where it's just perfect without breaking it. Because that's
the hardest part, especially so delicate.
Okay, catch me up. What are people's theories? Of course, I'm going to go for the roots of it. Like, what are people's like aerospace engineer? Like, what are people's theories?
Okay, the only one really is that the only way we could do this today is on a 5-axis lathe. 5-axis is not one that just you hold in 2 ends and it spins and you carve around. No, it's literally a robotic arm that's able to do different, it could go in and left and right. You have 5 axes. This is 5 different directions that the blade that's cutting can move versus the linear type of lathe, which still doesn't explain the lug handles. The lug handles are unexplainable.
Right. That's a very good point.
Because you have the same precision round part all the way. If you measure from one lug handle to the other, the depth of that handle on the edge relative to the next one is the same. So somehow they were able to precision lathe not a full round surface. It was just it had to stop, and then it had to start again and come back many times or whatever. I don't know how many times, but you have some striations in this inside. If you see the marks here, you see a evidence of it being cut on the inside.
So this supports like the no geopolymer being made because
definitely for this. Yeah, these are not molds. This is cut. There's clear cut marks on all of these things, and there's the precision is off the chain. That's a whole. I could drop the link in the video or the link to the video in the chat, but it's a good hour.
This is amazing. This is so amazing.
I'll
like
share
this
it in the live chat for everyone.
This is Ben's work. Like this is why he's one of the top guys out there.
I have to agree with you. Uncharted X, just he's been everywhere and researching it for what, almost 2 decades now, at least a decade.
9 years.
Oh, 9. Okay.
He's been doing it professionally for 9 and into it for like 11 or 12. That's what he told me.
Well, he has an amazing video editor, Travis.
Thank you. That channel.
Can we steal you for projects?
Sure. Yeah. So I made these videos right here. All of these.
Oh wow. That's a lot of work.
Up to this one, I didn't do these. These are the older ones on this channel. So 3 months back was when that was the first one. So all the new ones now will be produced by me, and they're just capturing his super long streams and stuff he doesn't make videos out of, and I'll do that here. Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad like you're my right hand man, and to be able to like have to share you to Ben. I mean,
and that's why we're using his content to talk about this, because this
next
is
level.
Yeah. What better stuff to use, right? And he's all about that. He's not like, no, you can't use my stuff. Like this is we're supporting his work here. He's all for that. That's another good thing about him too. He's not,
dude, as thin as the art, I can't like. I'm obsessed. I'm gonna have to like remote view one of these vases. I want to know like.
There's some better ones.
The fact that it's thin like that.
Yeah, so there's some ones in the museum that are broken, but they're so thin where they're broken you can see exactly.
Travis, post they want the link.
To which one?
Yeah, it's in my chat. He posted in your chat. I'm just copying it now.
Okay.
This is Guardian Jackpot. You're fucking out of here, dude. Sorry. Enough of that crap.
I missed it.
He's just posting bullshit.
Well, this is why you're my moderator, so I don't have to deal with that.
Wait, someone else? Uh-oh. That was a mistake. Sovereign Cosmic Wildman. You're good. There. My bad.
The worst I find when I'm a moderator on channels, and even my own channel, is like if you put your phone in your pocket for like 30 seconds and then pull it back out, it's like you just deleted 4.
Oh, really? And there's
Yeah,
no way to undo it, or can
happened.
you?
You can, but it's like you have to catch it right away or you never see it. And oh man, I've done it several times. I always feel so bad, but so far I believe I've caught it and undone it each time.
That happened to me on Dennis's channel. I did that.
Like
Dennis is a real fascinating guy.
Yeah, so Dennis is another one of Ben's admins on the Discord, and he does
God,
his
he's
own
got a
streams and
great.
stuff.
Then you guys are what a great team to have around them. And I just see so many people show him like it's like he commands respect. Like the way they admire him and respect. Like there's a lot of respect there.
Yeah, that's true.
I honor that. It's rare.
He's the man. He's the man. Someone's got to be the man. Graham Hancock, he's the man, I believe. Like some people don't think so.
Graham's a good man. I like Graham.
Look at this thing.
Right? Like how?
Look at those crystals.
The nubs. Like the nubs make it impossible to have been lathed because you would have had a full band. How would they have gone?
You can't do this part here.
Right? Like
how could you? What if the technology was like taking this and heating it in a certain way and like printing it like a 3D printer? How could you manipulate it to 3D print that?
Let's just look at that crystal. You couldn't.
No.
That's Earth.
Yeah,
making,
you'd have to heat it really hot.
100% shows that it would have to be like a natural stone that was quarried because of all of the inconsistencies and the other materials mixed in, the conglomerate.
Exactly.
Conglomerate material.
And this one just so happens to have giant chunks of that, like really smooth quartz.
So light cutting this, it'd have to be like laser.
Yeah.
This is rose granite. So the other ones there's another rose. Look at that giant.
Granite is hard. And yeah, Nolan 412 says you could lathe and go back in with a grinder, of course, but like that's just so much work.
Yeah, and then it wouldn't be as precise though, because they're measuring.
How is it that precise? Yeah, right. We haven't seen the full details of the investigation of that. They're exact, right? It's precise, like you said.
Yeah, and that's
symmetry is exact.
Well, here we go. So this is good timing. That's that one you were looking at with a flashlight. There you go.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the one that rocked my world.
Yeah.
Literally.
A few of them
rocked it.
And here it is getting measured.
So
see how they have
thin, yet still the two knobs or whatever that attach.
They're holding up. Yeah. And you see how they're measuring that circle where the knobs are, or the handles are, to get that. And see that one jumped and it goes back down. Now I've noticed the gauges are not moving much. You have to understand, each one of those notches on those gauges is 1,000th of a millimeter. There's just, sorry, it's 1,000 mil. So, damn it, I'll think of how to explain that one more clearly.
And the drill,
but all it would take is a human hair to move one of those notches on that needle.
Oof.
Wow,
3,000.
Precise.
So it's precise to 3,000ths of an inch all around. And this is the kind of data we want to see. This answers some questions.
It's like it's not impossible to replicate or make something like that today, but you're definitely using power tools. Like you're not, and it's going to take a lot of time. Like, and the smallest little Shit,
Yeah, who was going to
you have
do
to
that?
start all over.
You would have to pay someone to do that, and they would have to have that capability, and then we could experiment ourselves. There's probably places that make vases like this, like stone vases. We could ask them how much something like that would cost, and what someone needs to do is have one made, and then go get it measured, and we could compare. Let's see how the ancient ones compare with something that was made today. They did that on this video, but it was with a new marble vase. I think it was this video. So that purple one is 3D printed. Yeah, they made the STL of one of the scans of these. This is taking a long time to buffer. Damn. Where's the marble? OG vase, spinner vase. Yeah, Julia, how about this one? Hopefully this thing maybe drop the quality from 1080p. 720. 7, yeah.
Still buffering. StreamYard uses so much bandwidth.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, definitely. There we go.
My Wi-Fi's. All right, wait. This is not where I wanted to stop. Spinner vase. What do you think of that, Julia?
Jules.
She's gone.
Bathroom.
Oh, she left. Okay.
She'll be back.
Yeah.
Probably just grabbing her popcorn.
Well, we're going long. This is like an hour longer than.
Yeah, I joined in and kept it going.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Appreciate it.
Now we're just freestyle streaming.
What it's about.
Yeah.
You're saying that there was an investor that bought a bunch of these, correct?
Yeah.
I would recommend to him that he should next invest into trying to recreate one or two to see and compare them.
Right. I feel like he did something like that. But he also really didn't want to be publicized. Like he's kind of afraid. He's a really wealthy guy, so I don't know who he is really, but he didn't want Ben to. He said his name, and I think that's the extent of the publicity he got. And then he may have removed that later. I'll have to check, but he may have had to redact the name from his video. Just because I know that guy didn't want to, which sucks, but at least someone's doing it, you know. Otherwise, these vases would have went to people who would have never done any sort of studies on these things, or another museum, or they would have went into some rich person's antiquity collection in their mansion, and then that's it. We'll never see him again. So thank God the guy got these things. And interestingly, one of them, the serpentine vase, that's the material I was trying to, that green stuff. So serpentine. Finally remember the name of it. Where to go? There was one vase made out of that, and I found that on an antiquities auction site last year. And then
really?
I saw it, yeah, and here it is in the video. Where's the big? Let's just go to the pictures, because this one right here, it's like an upside down cistern or something. Like, you definitely
what?
Yeah, so it is hollowed out, and this is the top down here.
It's so strange.
So it would never stand up. You would have to either have like a stand, which they make those. There are vases like this today with stands, like metal, it has like steel ring and like 3 legs. I'm sure you've probably even seen one. So this is interesting that why would you shape something like that though? Like back then, it doesn't make any sense. But this one was going for $8,000 or $9,000, I think, when I saw it listed.
Wow, pretty cheap.
Which is it's on the cheap side, and I think it's because it's serpentine, not like granite. Yeah, that one. Here it is. And I had to look up what serpentine was, but it's another igneous stone. Same kind of thing. It's got a bunch of different conglomerate material in it.
That looks like the one that's at the Vatican of like the pineal. It looks like similar material.
Oh, maybe.
The cleavage on some of these stones and like how they chip and break and stuff.
Oh, here's
their hardness. Just that's what gets me on the difficulty of making them, especially in that time period.
Right. Here's the inside of that one. And you could see along that lip, there's these lines, right?
The veins, yeah.
Well, not the veins.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see the lines. Yeah, the grooves.
You can see
the cut machine.
Exactly. Working. Even down there, you can see circular pattern, right? So this is machined in some way at the final stage too. This is a final cut on the inside, and it was done by some sort of machine. The outside seems to have been on all of these polished afterwards. So the inside wasn't polished, leaving your striations in your tool marks, and the outside, unless you find there seems to be remnants of broken ones in the bottom of the bent pyramid in Saqqara. Still, there's stuff down there of unfinished faces, and they're not started how you would imagine them to be started. It's like you would think, okay, you get a big block or like a square, and you hollow out the inside, and then you shape it. Like they were shaping it like completely backwards from how you would expect to start. And some of these things weigh so much that you would have a hell of a time putting them on any type of spinning wheel or like a wooden wheel of some sort. Like these things, for a heavy, like 80-pound piece of granite to be turned like that and machined, that's a freaking machine. Whatever's those heavy vases. There's some examples of that in the Cairo Museum. There's a vase that's as tall.
Wait, Travis, when you say backwards, what indicates that it was being made backwards? Like,
just like the way they start shaping it is not how you would do something today. It's just
so like they do like the top of that first before it's hollowed out.
I have to find those pictures of that. But there's remnants. If you go on a special permissions tour, you can get in the bottom of the bent pyramid, and you can hold these things. You could physically touch these things. So you won't find any fully done ones like this there, just a bunch of pieces, but those pieces still show all the precision, markings, and like there's bottoms that are broken off, and the bottom itself is like a perfect circle. Just the inside bottom is like a perfect circular cut in the stone, and then there's
I feel like so too. Like I feel like it had to do with the structuring of water and Schauberg. I feel like that's key. I agree with that comment.
What is it?
With what he's mentioning about Schauberger's work.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
So,
Joel
are you?
Dahl. Yeah.
Did you see what he said? It's the butt plug of the gods.
Oh, yeah. No, there's jokes for sure going around on that
One
vase.
giant one.
This one. Oh, you mean that one? What about that? This is
Okay.
it's
I guess.
literally a transparent piece of crystal that they made into a little vase.
Oh,
Just for the hell of it. Look at there's the mouth, and it's hollowed out down to.
It's like a necklace vase. That's so badass.
And did they have the lug handles there? Is that what that
Yeah.
is?
they're
Here we
like,
go.
this holds
go.
gypsy tears right here. It holds tears.
Literally.
Yeah, I guess that's
Or
all.
they had a hell of
Seems like
a,
the inside goes down to about here.
they were a bunch of monoatomic gold junkies, and they have to keep it in something and take little sniffs of it.
Yeah, that's the sniffing vial right there.
And you think I'm joking? That's the funny part.
Hey, oh, see, this is an example of the providence. So with each purchase, they all have their own history, and they better. Otherwise, you can't classify it as a legitimate artifact. So
Yeah, well, I would love to see that pop up in the relic world. Like,
What do you
look, I made this see through. There's no way to emulate it, right? I
Oh.
mean, good
Oh.
luck.
Yeah, how do
You
you?
need diamond tip tools to be
Yeah, exactly.
working with all of this, especially granite from its hardness, the most hardness scale. It's like all 8 and 9.
Right. So they've shined a light in the hole of that
Quartz
one.
as well.
Man, you could tell. I mean, the bottom of the inside stops here. But man, that's crazy. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that.
See, I see the
You
cone shape.
definitely need a diamond tip drill to be working that.
Right, without breaking it, especially.
Yeah.
Or just like,
No doubt.
it can't be too violent of a tool, and the diamond tipped like a Dremel almost, like you would need for this. Something really precise.
Exactly like that.
But then how do you get that lip?
Right, like how do you apply the pressure and the spinning without cracking or fracturing it?
Yeah, that's right. And then similarly with the thin ones, somehow they didn't break. But yeah, this is the latest collection of stuff they've got. The original one is there in the center. So this one started everything. He got a hold of that one. They scanned it. He made the first 2 videos on this one. Someone did a mathematical analysis on it. Basically, you could take the flower of life, and that gets every measurement on this thing somehow. That's way above my head.
Whoa.
But
whoa.
Let me try to find a link to that one.
Yeah,
There's a whole mathematical analysis, and it's very long. It's a full report.
Well, good thing we're starting Saturday Night Polymer, so we can cover this. This is a whole series.
Okay.
It's going to be amazing.
I don't know if I necessarily call those polymer, though.
No.
Megaliths.
That's fine, yeah.
I just think it's catchy. It starts, like, literally when people mention geopolymer, I feel like it makes a lot of people angry. Like, where it's like, what? I don't know. It, like, instills something within you. It grabs you.
Because it takes away from the masterpiece of the work, I think. Like, it's more interesting than that. Like, there's something even more impressive happening that we're just trying to, like, fill in blanks with, you know. But this is
Saturday
the
Night Granite. We got to think of a name.
Yeah.
We need a
Okay.
name.
Yeah, I'll drop this link, and here's the full. You want to get serious? I mean, here you go.
Wow.
This is college level shit.
Christopher Dunn excellence right there.
This should be taught. This should be taught, you guys, in schools.
Right. This is an independent guy right here. Unsigned.io is the site, and he took the data they collected, and just by having that data was able to do all these measurements, basically. And they, as you see, started with the flower life, and then everything following is just geometry, or that sacred geometry from that. You can make the entire, not just this face, every single one. You can make them all.
Sacred Geometry Saturday Night?
No, I don't. I don't know. And, I'm not really into, I can't talk much about that, is what I'm saying.
You're an engineer.
Yeah.
You get
but
it.
I don't do math, really. I still pull out a calculator for the math. I'm a mechanical, electrical engineer. I fix machines that don't work. I improve machines and make them work better, that kind of thing. So when I see these precision stone stuff like that, catches my attention very much. Especially when all those history documentaries I watched, growing up, and even recently, like 3-4 years ago, I watched the entire Odyssey series with those Egyptologists on there and stuff. None of those 3-4 hour long documentaries ever show this shit. They don't touch it.
But I mean, like, look, when I first saw it tonight, it ignited something within me, and it has me like instantly hooked, fascinated, hook line, like it woke something up within me and instilled something within me. And you just did that for several other people tonight, and
good.
Hopefully a bunch of more people. But like, I feel like that's something that happens, and so the less people you show things to that happens to, the better. If you're trying to hide something and prevent that from happening.
Yeah, you don't want thinkers to see something that looks off, right?
So Dunn did these it's not Dunn, Christopher Dunn, or that did this equation. It was
no, this is a separate third party. I forgot his name, but the name of the website is unsigned.io. And yeah, the link's in the chat. I'll put it again, but you're welcome to check that out. I just skimmed through this. I mean, this stuff is over my head, but it's definitely compelling. And if you do understand this kind of stuff, by all means, dig into it.
I mean, I was going to say, like,
but yeah, I can't read equations, and I don't know if anyone here did calculus or any of that stuff.
A little bit, but that, God, 2 decades ago now.
Yeah, I stopped with algebra.
A lot of raves and parties in between then and now.
Right.
Well, now we need kava bars to rave on in. Kava bars and tinctures. Get your tincture on. Go take a girl out and get some
kava bars. Yeah.
IVs, some hydration IVs, some aminos in it. And
well, tinctures are literally the beginnings of alchemy, and the main purpose of ancient alchemy was to take the essence or the amino acids and the oils out of plants and animals and minerals and turn it into a concentrated medicine slash tincture.
Gosh, dating life and like would be amazing in that type of world. Like the aromas you would smell and the things that you would do. And yeah, it's sounding pretty romantic of like, hey, you want to go take some plant
Want to go
tinctures
get
and
some rose tincture?
Plants.
Shot of rose?
take some flower essences and like, can I take you out for a flower essence shot? I'd be like, I'd melt and be like, yes. And it'd be like, oh, look at the structured water. Can I interest you? And like, this was bottled at Lord's France. Would you like to have some healing waters? Like, oh, can I interest you in a radium springs bath afterwards? Or, like, this is like the old, this is my fantasy. It's like my goddess fantasy. So that'd be amazing.
Sounds nice.
It does. Gonna have to come up to Radium Hot Springs sometime.
Oh my gosh, that'll be like the best day ever. Me
Where
in a
is that?
Radium Hot Springs. Me at any hot springs anywhere.
BC,
Okay.
British Columbia.
Are you
Right,
up in
it's right on the
Canada?
Alberta border. I'm in Calgary, Alberta, and it's about 4
Ah,
hours. I got
yeah,
a
I've
bunch
been
of
there.
family on there.
Okay.
But I've yet to hike back into the actual natural hot springs and the radium deposits. And now that I've been exposed to all of the research on radium and its past uses, it's like I really got to get out there this summer and find me some radium
Yeah.
and hopefully get
That's-
health benefits and not die.
I want to go to Blind Frog Ranch too. I heard they have healing waters there. I want to go on a healing waters tour around the world and go to all the sites.
Right? There's so many. Like the magical French mountain that supposedly had, like, I think the Ark of the Covenant in it at some point, according it wasn't Graham Hancock. I think it was Nassim Haramine's story with that. But anyways, there's some mountain in France that has magical spring waters that was carved out and is like some giant anomaly. And there's a magical spring inside.
Yeah, Lourdes, France. There's like a cave, and they've done all these miracle healings there, and they actually went to the Vatican and submitted. I forget how many, but reports of these miraculous healings that occurred because of their water, and it met all the requirements for it to be approved, but they wouldn't approve it. They won't approve it. They won't acknowledge it as a site. But I was like, well, people need to hear it. But there's a lot of people that don't know about that. But there's a place in New Mexico, all around the world. There's these spots, but they, I think, have like the most proof of all their, like files and stuff indicating it of what the ailments were. Oh yeah, but this isn't medical advice, right? I gotta say
Definitely
that.
not medical advice. Don't eat radium or mercury.
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
Just say it. Just put it out there.
Yeah, so Julia, when you go and run a compass in front of this right here,
Mhm.
it's just gonna go crazy. It goes ape shit.
Yeah, I pick up like magnetism, like magnetics.
It
So that's
definitely is magnetic
interesting.
anomalies.
Is the stone where this is quarried from, is like at the quarry location, is it also magnetic or is it just in the blocks?
Good question, and I don't know if they know where the quarry for these was, but
Actually, I think you're right. I think the Puma Punka, like,
It's a
they have
mystery,
yet
right?
to find it. Yeah.
But they know where the base stones, Tiwanaku, like, let's see if I could just stumble upon one. Come on. No.
Has
It
Ben
is-
made a book? Has Ben
it
made
is
a book?
No, not
He
yet.
hasn't. Okay.
I think he's talked about it. Pumapunku. Same place as the H blocks. Where are those stones? Right here. Okay. No. This is all unexcavated. That's a problem.
Right?
I don't know why. See, they like made these walls of clay and it's like, we're not going to dig anymore.
Yeah.
We'll just show you this
don't worry
part.
about what's back here and that everything's sticking out and
yeah, everything's sticking out.
don't dig any further. Don't worry. Definitely don't take a LiDAR drone over top of this area. Definitely don't do that.
No, you don't want to see those chambers underground.
Okay, 2025, we're all going there together.
I want to go to Peru. Yeah, that there, Bernie. There you go. Right? Why?
Right out.
What a
mud wall. Somebody screen. I need to take a picture. Leave that. I need to get a photo of that.
Sure. Yeah.
Literal mud wall over top of giant megalithic blocks sticking out of the ground.
And they're satisfied with what is that, a 50th of it sticking out? Like, there you go.
Yeah.
We're done.
Here's 2% of it.
Yeah.
That's all there is.
Good enough. Al Batwitch Wiggler. Is that how you say your name?
I always say Twitch. Oh, a bat twitch wiggler?
I had to sound that out. Yeah. Al Batwitch.
I'll be a Twitch wiggler?
Alba Twitch. Interesting. Yeah. So to Bernie supporting your statement. There you go.
All right, so we're going to have to go there in 2025, but we're going to have to go there for like a few weeks. So we're going to have to bring like tents and food and shovels and a drone. And
whoa. Yeah, we could do that. I was planning on doing one of the tours.
Right? Like
Ben's
we got to do Ben's tour with them, but then we also have to stay behind and like dig something out and find some like secret.
When is Ben going there next year?
You not unconfirmed yet. This is right now. He's done traveling, so he'll just.
Well,
it will happen. It will happen for sure, though. Probably the end of this year, or
And if not with Ben, then definitely Brian Forrester.
Oh yeah, I would love to go with him. But so these stones here, I found them. These giant base stones, which I don't know the weight.
Like, have they even like excavated to the bottom of one of the base stones to even like figure out their size? Like, not even. They're
nope.
I'll be right back.
It's just ridiculous how little they've done and how much they're leaving covered up intentionally and covering up even more of it.
Yeah, and I guess another issue is that this is in Bolivia, so they're even worse than Peru when it comes to that stuff. There's just it will probably never happen. I mean,
and Bolivia is just that corrupt or totalitarian or whatever the heck.
Yeah. Something like that. One of those. But these blocks, I think, were brought from 70 miles away. They know where these came from. And this far.
What? So they know the quarry of the base blocks, even though they don't know the actual size of the base blocks.
Yeah, just because this type of stone, they could trace it back to that quarry. But this stone, I think, I don't know if they did find where that came from.
Fascinating.
Which means they were transported, and it was probably pretty far, right? And this is 13,000 feet elevation. So oxygen
ain't easy there.
Not much oxygen up there, right?
Just mind-blowing sight.
Interesting carvings, yeah.
Right, like what's the purpose of that? Why go through such insane like intricacy and work that it would require into making something like that? at that time period. Like, why would you expend that much energy and resources into just carving the stone? It doesn't make sense unless it had an actual purpose.
Right. Or if there was so much more, like they were way far advanced, like compared to what we
like just overabundance of energy and tools, electricity, whatever you need, resources. Essentially, it's abundance of excess resources.
And they're like, let's make this, and can you give me drilled holes about 3 inches apart, evenly spaced all the way down,
right? Like,
and a giant block of, I think that's andesite at these sites.
Precision, and the fact that something like that, you'd have to have a power tool. Like,
those for that, these do go all the way through. I'm pretty sure, from what I've heard of people talking about this stone's pretty popular for people that go there. Oops.
Like, nah.
What's that?
Well, with those lines, it's like maybe the top, the first drill all the way down was like the drill into the rock, and then all of those other ones they drill through to try to like break them apart. Like
like this piece coming off,
to come off, sort of thing. Like, but it just, that doesn't make sense because the accuracy of the stones,
they're precise.
Like that would
spacing
be such a fracture, and I just don't know.
Because your tool that makes that small of a hole, you would think that's for more precision than like we're going to use this to then break this giant piece off. Right.
Exactly. Like,
but then if we went back to the Corey Concha, there's stones with these types of drill holes all over in there, and that's far from here. That's
right. Like,
Cusco is not close to Pumapunku.
They were shaping and doing most of the block cutting at the actual quarries, not on the sites that they were building.
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, it seems like they weren't, because you have things like the face of the Menkaure pyramid, right? The granite casing stones, they were put in, and then they started to smooth them out, but they obviously stopped, and you can see that there. But there's an example of them not finishing it before it was placed. It was placed, and then they went to complete.
Just such a mystery. Nothing. It just doesn't make any sort of sense in our current like paradigm and understanding of the past. That's for sure.
Correct. How did this portion stay so perfect when, like, look at that?
Yeah. Right.
And was it
a little eroded on one side and then perfect remaining 90-degree angles on the other?
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, so that's the base stones, and they have these
the big T, the
clamp things for the keystone
or the keystone cuts for the metal. Just wild.
Right.
So
those are all over the world. I mean, we know that. It's like you see that everywhere.
Literally Asia, Egypt, Africa, and the Americas. And like, so if these are giant base stones being key cut in together, potentially the entire area was then covered with these base stones, like a giant floor, maybe.
Right. It's interesting. It doesn't make sense as a floor. And then I think there's carvings. Like, see this part? There's like squares carved into it that just don't seem to make any sense. Like, I don't know. That's interesting marks too. But let me go back. I'm gonna have to get off here pretty soon.
Yeah, for sure. 3 hours in since you began, no doubt. Appreciate you staying this long, Travis. Pleasure to meet and interact.
Yeah, same here. I will do this again for sure. I didn't have. She wanted me to do like a thing on the geopolymer, but I was just winging it, really.
Ah, you did great, my friend. It's been awesome. It was awesome watching from the beginning.
Oh, cool. Thank you. You've been here.
It's just so wild. And like, why they refuse to let or do any actual excavations beneath it. Like,
that's my biggest question over how it was done, because first we should see it all, right? And then we deduce what it is, right? Because you can't see a portion of it and then come up with all these ideas of what it was, because like all you got to do is dig a little further and all those ideas may go away. Like, let's see it first. So I don't think any of those places in Giza, I was trying to mention this, Egypt entirety, but how would we ever come up with a pyramid theory when most of it's gone?
Yeah. Right?
It's just
gone and or buried.
Yeah, that too, yeah. But like all the casing stones being gone, and like it's like a machine.
Point. Yes, exactly. Half the machine is missing, so
it's missing, right? How are you?
Well, thank you, Travis. I think this ignites things within us, and if we all kind of have pieces to a puzzle, and it's kind of pointing in the right direction of looking at this and examining it, and rethinking our reality, and it could change things, right? Of coming together and asking the right questions. And like I was saying earlier, the way these were cut, the intent of a lot of these rooms of cutting it the certain way and laying it out like that made it induce certain specific frequencies. So in studying those frequencies,
both acoustically as well as electromagnetically, you're bang on with that, Julia, with both. And what we really don't understand and don't apply into our investigations and understandings of these sites. Like the Hypogeum of Malta is a great place to start on like why they carved them in these specific geometries, in these specific stones, and then the effects that it has of changing the voice to, is it that, I think it's 111, is it? It's also
111 hertz is in a lot of these sites. I think Pythagoras called it the God frequency. Because there's people that are like, no, Julia, it's 528. 528 hertz is very conducive to us. It's the love frequency.
Yeah, one of the solfeggios.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so... Oh, never mind. But
the studying of frequencies and how it harmonizes our bodies and insights of being able to connect and possibly have visions and, astral travel and to do things that we're instilled to do and we have abilities to do. We've just forgotten how to do it and how to utilize it.
Yeah. So we have a Paul Cook representative in the chat, apparently. Joel, you can go ahead and present us with
I'd just like to say, Joel, I had Paul Cook on to interview him, and instead of giving us information, he decided getting a blowjob was a better idea. That's my interaction with Paul.
Sounds right. Yes. Go ahead and demonstrate how you can
we're welcome to hear presentations. It's not like we're closed off to things. Just present us, educate us.
Yep. And I bet you can't on that. Just saying. But do it. Let's hear it. Because geopolymer granite is impossible. It's not possible. Other stuff? Maybe.
Yeah, like so the limestone stuff, there's definitely possibility of it, and the most likely there was one global civilization at one point that was doing it with some of the polygonal buildings, but definitely not all of them, and definitely not with the giant granite blocks and the dolerite and any of the crystal ones that are showing that it's still the original crystal in it, like, or anything with veins in it,
or these. So why you have the ability to make something like this and cut stones to fit perfectly together? Guess what? You don't need geopolymer. You don't need it, and no one's going to that channel.
All right, and it's like, so Ben's actually been out there, and these guys are actually doing real science and real investigation on these artifacts and trying to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I'm just a representative there. So one day I will go out myself and see these things.
So the ancients built places to have a specific hertz, and many of them were structured to resonate at 111 hertz, or the holy frequency. Pythagoras created his musical scale starting with a note A that resonates at the frequency of 111 hertz. What's also interesting is, did you know that your cells create sound? Cells vibrate, and when those vibrations are amplified, they sound like squeals. Each individual cell is thought to vibrate uniquely. The study of the sounds of a cell is called sonotology. Sonos, sound, cytology, study of cell structure and function, and specific tones and frequency, and knowing in which order to play them can harmonize your cells, causing your body to heal and thrive, but certain frequencies can. So I found that to be fascinating. I wrote that and posted and made like a meme about it. But a lot of the megalithic sites resonate at a sound frequency between 95 and 120 hertz. And
95 and 120.
Yes.
That's so low.
Right. But like I always talk about when I taught me, like with learning remote viewing and stuff, I would get my I would get myself into the theta brainwaves, which is, a lower frequency. And that's how I would receive a lot of information.
On a lower frequency. So what is it when you hear people say like that person's low vibration, low energy? Like, is that?
I think it's like, okay, like the worst like think of it as like love is the highest vibration, love, joy. And the lowest thing you could feel is guilt and shame. It's the lowest vibration. And so I always say, like, try not to say sorry, or, there's certain like lower I feel like they're saying there's somebody. When people use that, I feel like they're describing people that are about, that lie, steal, hustle, cheat, scam. They're about getting over on you, like a lower vibrational way, being toxic, or just listening to their groanings, of being motivated by just sexual desires and things like that.
So also on this topic of like the emotional energy state of higher and lower vibration, you're bang on with that. And like take it to another level, it's like when you're on a lower state, it's like you're fight or flight. Basically, you're in survival. You're just like you're gonna act. You're not gonna think it through. You're just doing it. Like if you're depressed, you're just going to like, you're sad, whatever. If you're in that lower state, you're just barely surviving. You're just doing whatever it takes. Where you're in this higher state, your higher consciousness, love, light, and thought, then you're in this like quantum, or like through time, where you're planning ahead, you're thinking of others, you're in multiple dimensions of thought and reality. You're not just acting on an impulse of survival.
Right. Like I feel like they're describing people that are negative, that like root against you and are hateful, or want to block you and don't want you to feel joy, like that, like joy killers, fun killers, or skeptics, critical. They just want to criticize, like, and just pick apart and rip apart. Yes. And so like a negative, so not, but when you root for someone, you compliment, you encourage, you support, you love them, you try to understand them, you teach, all of those things like are of a higher frequency, whereas like more negativity, like you're on a lower frequency of like somebody being what they deem toxic.
Okay. That makes sense.
So don't be low frequency. You're not low frequency, Travis.
Oh, good. Well, look, I'll answer one question in the chat. Serapium that's not a question. Another one of those clear cases of advanced. Yeah, the Serapium, we were talking about that earlier. It's evidence of how Geopolymer was definitely not used. Anyway, you guys could check that one out. But yeah, just look at those boxes and the crystalline veins in them. And then here,
have you back for a whole other episode on
Let's do it.
We got to think of a name. Saturday nights is perfect. And yeah, I got to come up with a name.
All right.
Ideas are welcome.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Travis. This has been amazing. You are the best.
Thanks for having me.
And I look forward to future shows together.
Same here. Let's do it.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Watch the sun come up, beautiful, till it all burns out. We're like falling stars, miracles, dancing on the ground. And we're right with you to feel it strike deep down. We're right with you. And we're right with you to feel it strike deep down. Suffering grows, yeah. Listen, that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? Oh, yeah. Listen,